My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 476. In the ward before the destination. Adam walked over and observed carefully. Duncan, what do you think? Dr. Bailey looked up at Adam. It shouldn't be pregnancy, Adam said as he examined her. It's not weight gain. The most likely thing is a tumor. A teratoma. A teratoma at his age and gender? Dr. Bailey was stunned. It's really rare. Adam smiled. But it's not impossible. It's better than his chance of being pregnant, right? I'm not pregnant, the man with a big belly retorted. But the pregnancy test results just showed that I'm pregnant. I've also taken pregnancy tests at home several times, and they all showed that I'm pregnant. Rather than being treated as a psychopath, he was more inclined to believe that he was pregnant. Being able to do what others can't do is also a skill. The principle of pregnancy test is to determine the pregnancy by detecting whether there is chorionic gonadotropin in the urine of women. Adam explained. This hormone is not only produced when you are pregnant. The teratoma itself is a large group of cells that continue to grow, similar to a fetus, and it will also release this hormone, causing a false positive pregnancy test. Fetus? Then I'm still pregnant? The man with a big belly shouted. It is similar, Adam corrected. It is essentially a tumor, and it is called a teratoma because it has some symptoms similar to those of a fetus. Are you sure? The man looked at his big belly with a complicated expression. No, Adam shook his head. No one can confirm it without a detailed examination report. Are there other possibilities? The wife next to him, who was pregnant, couldn't help asking. Yeah, Adam said, the basis of his imagination for the previous destination. Everyone looked over at once. Click, click. This time, many doctors watching used their own cameras. When such a person can travel through time, he forms a time loop by himself. It's just such a wild imagination. Leonard Cooper, you should really be glad that your father Sheldon doesn't have the habit of overeating. Otherwise Sheldon number 2 would appear. And how could you appear? Mr. Herman obviously didn't have a heart-changing operation. Adam laughed while thinking about it. So the biggest possibility is still a teratoma. Mrs. Herman's pregnancy may not prove anything, but under the watchful eyes of so many doctors, if Mr. Herman, who was lying on the bed in a hospital gown, had undergone a heart-changing surgery, it would be impossible to hide it from the eyes of so many professionals. Dr. Bailey, the court machine has been booked, and we can go now. Liz hung up the phone and said excitedly. Okay, Dr. Bailey nodded. Courtroom. Everyone, I lost the bet with my colleague, so I'll do the scan for him, and I'll buy the beer tonight. A fat girl sat in front of the computer and laughed with everyone. The next bet is what's in his stomach. Do you want to bet? $10. I bet on teratoma. Liz raised her hand. I bet on teratoma too. Me too. A group of doctors who had heard Adam's analysis wanted to bet on teratoma. They believed in Adam's judgment. It's a waste not to make money. The fat girl was stunned. What's going on? You all bet on the same thing. How can there be so many people betting against you? I'm the banker, and I'm betting against all of you. Adam smiled and said, I bet that Mr. Herman's stomach is a fetus. This time it was the other's turn to be confused. Adam, what do you mean by this? Liz said puzzledly. Mr. Herman's stomach is not ascites or fat. The most likely possibility is the teratoma you mentioned before. Why are you betting against everyone that it is a fetus? Because I hope it is a fetus. Adam smiled and said, if it is not a fetus, then you win, and everyone will be happy. But if it is a fetus, it will be a miracle in medical history. Even if you lose, you will not lose anything, and everyone will witness history. Liz and others immediately understood. Adam is a billionaire and doesn't need this little money at all. He really wants to witness a medical miracle. I'm betting with you. Count me in. Can you raise the bet? The doctors immediately became more excited, and some of them were even thick-skinned and wanted to raise the bet. Haha. Adam glanced at the other party. A small bet is fun. Betting on a miracle is just like giving everyone a small benefit. But if you really want to make money from me, that's an insult to my intelligence. I just said it casually. The other party smiled awkwardly. It's out, Liz reminded. Everyone immediately looked at the computer screen. The court scan of Mr. Herman's abdomen taken by the court machine appeared. "OMG," the fat girl exclaimed immediately. "Is that a tooth?" Liz grinned. "A large number of bilobed cystic lesions, calcification deposits, and an unformed mandible." Adam looked at the court scan and said, "It's a pity that it's not fully formed, and there is no hair, skin, or nerve tissue." "What?" The doctor, who didn't have enough knowledge, didn't react for a while. "There are two types of teratomas, benign and malignant," Adam explained. "Benign ones generally contain multiple tissue components, while malignant ones are like this, poorly differentiated, not many formed tissues, and unclear structures." "Oh," the doctor finally reacted. "Malignant tumors are not a good sign." "Okay, now that it's confirmed to be a malignant teratoma," Liz clapped her hands and said, "the surgery will definitely be done later. If you want to go to the observation room to watch, it's $50 per person." "Why?" The doctors were immediately dissatisfied. "Anyone can go to the observation room. Why does it cost so much money?" "This operation was snatched by Christina from the psychiatric department," Liz said toughly. "For this reason, she is now punished to do all kinds of dirty and tiring work. If any of you are willing to help her, you don't have to pay for your share. Otherwise, if you want to watch it live, you must pay. The seats are limited. First come first served. Count me in." "Only cash." "You are not doctors, you are businessmen. Give." "We make money by our ability. Why can't we?" Seeing Liz turned into a female god of wealth, sitting there collecting money, Adam's mouth twitched. This is really fun. At the same time, he also knew why Christina was excluded even though she had grabbed the operation. He was so clever and calculated that he ended up costing your life. Chapter 477, Twisted Relationship Between Superiors and Subordinates at Noon, Cafeteria. 135, 155, 175. 485. Liz was happily counting a stack of dollars. "You are too much." George was jealous. "You didn't tell me that you were pregnant." "It's a teratoma, not pregnancy," Liz corrected. "It was Christina's idea." "Who told you to be so active during the ward rounds?" "Didn't you see that we all said we didn't know?" "You didn't think we really didn't know?" George was speechless. If Liz and Meredith didn't know, it would be understandable. But Christina, who was good at answering questions quickly, was the most powerful among the surgical interns except Adam. How could Christina not know the questions that he could answer easily? But it was not his fault. During the ward rounds, he never had much presence. Either Christina answered first, or Dr. Shept designated Meredith to answer. Now there was another Dr. Montgomery, who was also interested in Liz, who was said to have a talent for pediatrics. As the only male in the four-person group, he had no dignity and presence. In the morning, when he suddenly ran into the three female warriors who didn't know about it and everyone's eyes were focused on him, he was proud of his head that was straightened up for a moment, which was normal. That was the remaining male hormones at work. It was also to give him some realistic basis and confidence for his usual fantasy of group sex with Meredith, Liz, and Christina. That's right. Don't think that everyone, including Meredith, treats him as a gay girlfriend. But he, George O'Malley, is also a well-known man. He will not miss any group sex that should be fantasized about. It's just that the last time he fantasized about it, he was immediately poisoned by the sky. Then he was pressed there by Meredith and the other three female hooligans to give him an injection, and they laughed at him crazily, which was completely different from his fantasy. Now he has suffered a big loss again. He was proud of himself in front of Meredith and the other three during the morning rounds, which was different from his fantasy, and he even missed such a wonderful scene because of it. They didn't tell me either. Adam walked by with a plate and heard this. He smiled and continued, "Besides, you didn't know, so you didn't ask." "I asked proactively. They were guarding against me like a thief." Liz couldn't help but laugh as she touched the thick stack of US dollars. "If I were you, I would quickly put away these ill-gotten gains." Adam reminded, "Be careful of being envied." "What do you mean by ill-gotten gains?" "We earned this honestly," Liz muttered, but after glancing at the eyes around her, she stuffed the money into her pocket with all her heart. "Who will be Mr. Herman's attending physician?" "You are Meredith," Adam asked casually while eating. He was not comparable to Sheldon and Leonard. He was not afraid of choking when talking while eating. "You gave up?" Liz was delighted. If it were any other time, this should have been decided long ago, but this time was very special. The ward was always crowded with doctors. Even the chief of surgery was there. They were all watching this rare case. The so-called attending physician is a joke. How dare you give orders in front of so many residents, attending physicians, and the chief surgeon. No one except Adam has the guts. Christina, who should have been the attending physician, was punished to do the dirty work. Liz and Meredith were the first to witness this case, but they were assigned by Dr. Bailey in turn, and it was not clear who was assigned. If Dr. Bailey had not had some integrity, Liz suspected that Dr. Bailey would have taken all the work. Therefore, before entering the operating room, it is still unknown who will follow. "I have a heart operation this afternoon." Adam shook his head and sighed. If it were not for the conflict in the operation time, he would definitely rush to the front for such a rare case. However, Mrs. Gracewood's heart local anesthesia operation is also rare, and Leonard will definitely let him be the main surgeon. Compared with following the chief surgeon and others, Adam naturally chose heart surgery. That's right, this time, the chief surgeon couldn't help but go into the teratoma removal operation himself. No one can compete with him. Bang! At this time, Christina came over quickly with a plate, put it heavily on the table, and started eating. "What are you looking at?" "I'm starving." Seeing everyone's gaze, she rolled her eyes and chewed with big mouthfuls. "Hey, is that rectal lubricant stuck on you?" Liz glanced at the oil stain on Christina's chest and couldn't help but look disgusted. Christina looked down, then looked at Liz, who despised her. Thinking of the current situation, she immediately became furious, and her small eyes emitted a fighting light. "So what? Have you never used it? Or have you never been used?" "What?" Liz looked at Christina in disbelief, and her smile gradually solidified. "Is it too noisy in Mr. Herman's ward? Is your hearing affected?" Christina said angrily. "Guess what I did this morning? 2 wound infections, 1 urinary catheter, 1 groin abscess, 4 necrotic skin removals, 5 severe diarrhea. The rectal examination lubricant that you disliked is nothing at all." Liz's anger subsided when she heard it, and her face was full of sympathy. "I am the best intern under Bailey. I was the first to discover Mr. Herman and snatched him from the psychiatry department." Christina became more and more angry. "Why punish me like this? And only punish me? I remember Bailey secretly praised us, didn't he?" Liz smiled. Dr. Bailey scolded them in public for snatching this rare case from the psychiatry department, but praised them for their good work behind their backs. "I think she knows about Burke and me," Christina said depressedly. "It's not our fault." Liz was no longer embarrassed when she heard it. Meredith was also punished by Dr. Bailey. "You asked for it." "Who told you to fall in love with the attending doctor?" SHH. Christina shushed her immediately and looked around. "Don't tell anyone. I don't want to be like Meredith." "You and Dr. Burke are back together again?" Adam was surprised. He knew about that thing from somewhere and was very humble. Christina observed the expressions of everyone. "He said he wanted to continue, and I didn't object." That thing refers to Christina's ectopic pregnancy. It was Dr. Burke who planted the bomb and almost killed Christina. Although Dr. Burke pursued the position and power of the chief of surgery, but his heart was not as hard as Richard, the chief of surgery. After hearing the news from a little bird, he felt very guilty for dumping Christina at that time. George lowered his head and ate. "It's you, George." Christina immediately determined who the little bird was. "It's not my fault," George said embarrassedly. "Dr. Burke said I was his good helper." Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. The doctor's level in the hospital is clear. What interns want most is the praise of their superiors. "You are my buddy" and "you are my person" are all very high compliments. Some of the language is more vulgar, and they will also say "you are my bitch" and other vulgar intimate language. But even so, whether male or female doctors, working under such a superior doctor, want to hear this, and even take the initiative to say "I am your bitch." Just like Chandler's IT data processing, their supervisor's favorite thing is to slap the buttocks of his admired subordinates and praise him for his good work. At first, Chandler was very disgusted, and took the risk of offending his boss and took the initiative to ask his boss not to do so. But when his boss really stopped doing so and only slapped his colleagues, he began to miss it again. Then their supervisor, who had seen through everything, smiled and asked Chandler if he insisted on not doing it. Chandler hesitated for a moment, but still ran over happily. He was severely slapped by his boss and became his boss's favorite subordinate again. Chapter 478. It smells so good from the heart. Beep. While everyone was talking, Christina's pager on her waist rang again. Damn it, it's endless. Christina took a bite of rice, stood up and prepared to run to the ward. Don't worry, Adam smiled. Do you want to end this miserable life? Do you have a way? Christina was happy. Hee. Adam smiled non-committally. If you end it now, maybe you can still catch up with Mr. Herman's surgery. After all, you snatched it from him. Of course. Christina nodded, glanced at the pager, and saw that it was not the most urgent 911. So she sat back and showed the kindest smile on her face. Adam, do you have a way? Adam snorted. It's a pity that someone hurt my heart this morning. Sorry. Christina apologized immediately. If I knew about this surgery this morning, I would definitely choose this surgery. Adam continued. Christina twitched her lips and said directly, Adam, what do you want me to do to help you? A rare operation. Adam stopped pretending and raised a finger. Next time if you encounter such a rare operation that I like, you must give it to me once. You wish? Christina's eyes widened immediately. Originally, all the good operations have been taken away by you. I finally found one and risked being punished. You actually want me to give it to you on my own initiative? Think about it carefully. Adam smiled and said, if you end this trivial dirty work now, there is a high probability that you will participate in the first adult male teratomy removal operation. Do you think you will encounter this kind of operation in the future? Using an unknown rare operation in the future to exchange for the first rare operation now, are you really losing money? But whether I lose money or not, you have made a fortune. Christina pointed out the key point. For us, this is a win-win situation. Adam smiled calmly. Christina, the patient is important. Liz reacted and hurriedly urged. No matter if it was a win-win situation, Adam and Christina both won, or Adam won twice, it was not good news for her. You won't die. Christina rolled her eyes at her and looked at Adam. Okay, I agree, but the premise is that I really participate in the operation later. Deal. Adam nodded. What are you going to do? Christina asked. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing and said, you got the problem wrong. You think you offended Dr. Bailey and were punished by her, isn't it? Christina was stunned. Besides her, who else can punish me like this? Then she reacted and gritted her teeth and said, nurse. That's right. Adam smiled and said, think about how you offended the nurse when you snatched Mr. Herman's case. In order to keep it confidential, didn't I tell them in advance that I transferred Mr. Herman here? Are they so petty? Christina said in disbelief. That's it. Adam sneered. That's not what I heard. What are nurses in your eyes? They are not colleagues. You don't need to explain to them. You will only notify them when you need to change the bedpan. Oh, George exclaimed. Christina, you are too insulting. What's wrong? Christina also understood, but still said stubbornly, am I wrong? This is the job of a nurse. If you don't want to be a nurse, go to medical school and become a doctor. If you still have this attitude, I can't help you. Adam shook his head. I don't need your help, Christina said proudly. Since I know that it's not Dr. Bailey who is punishing me, I don't have to pay attention to their calls at all. I will go to Dr. Bailey now to make it clear that I want to participate in Mr. Herman's operation. Our agreement is also invalid. You are so naive. Adam smiled and said, it seems that I have to increase the stakes now. If you want me to help you solve this trouble, in addition to a rare operation, you have to add a favor. I think you are too naive. What if I don't agree? Christina smiled. Do you think that just telling the truth to Dr. Bailey will be enough? Adam shook his head and smiled. Let me tell you this cruel reality. Even if you tell him, Dr. Bailey will not care about the conflict between you and the nurse. As long as the nurse calls you, you must go. Do you believe it? How is that possible? Christina was stunned. Nurses are the foundation of the hospital. They do all the dirty and tiring work. Adam reminded. Only a proud intern like you dare to offend them like this. Do you know Dr. Benton? I don't know. Christina shook her head blankly. That's right, you don't know. Adam smiled and said, he is considered your predecessor. He used to be a very outstanding surgical resident in the medical center. Because he was in a bad mood and couldn't control his temper, he vented his anger on the nurses. He found fault and scolded the nurses for not writing medical orders for him. He could write it himself. Only doctors like him could write it. Then he immediately suffered backlash. Every time he met a patient, the nurses asked him to write the medical orders himself, and expressed strong disbelief in his oral medical orders, asking him to write clear medical orders before they would follow them. The handwriting is sloppy and can't be read clearly. Then ask him word by word. For patients with venous problems who need intravenous drips and other more difficult treatments, the nurses are worried that they can't do it well, so they have to let him, a great doctor, demonstrate it personally. If there is any patient who is difficult to treat, they will call him first, especially when he takes a break in the duty room. They call him desperately. What happened next? George asked curiously. He is just as stubborn as Christina. Adam looked at Christina with a dark face and said with a smile, he refused to apologize and did everything by himself, and then he became our predecessor. Without the cooperation of nurses, it takes several times more time and effort, and there will always be a time when it can't be supported. And once there is a problem, it is a big problem. Dr. Benton was in a desperate situation and made a mistake, causing unnecessary permanent harm to the patient. Although the investigation committee did not revoke his medical license, but the medical center also asked him to resign voluntarily. It's so miserable. George sighed. It seems that you really can't offend any nurse. Wrong, Adam corrected. It's not that you can't offend any individual nurse, but you can't offend nurses as a whole. Especially people like Christina who talk nonsense. It's a taboo to say that nurses are just bedpan changers. She offended the entire nursing community by saying this. Everything now is just an appetizer. Ugh. Liz heard this and glanced at the anal examination lubricant on Christina's chest, and couldn't help but retching. A rare operation and a favor. Christina's face turned from black to white. Meeting Adam's playful gaze, she said from the bottom of her heart, I agree. P.S. Thanks to the reward from Substandard mobile phone. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479 Burning Heart. Nurse's Station. I'm sorry. Christina apologized to the nurse Debbie who had offended her before. It's not that difficult to respect us more, right? Nurse Debbie said faintly. We are all colleagues, and we should respect each other. Adam smiled to smooth things over. This is the real reason why Dr. Duncan is so popular. Nurse Debbie smiled and said, not only is he the best, but he is also the kindest. Christina watched Adam and the nurse bragging about their business, and rolled her eyes in her heart, but she didn't show it on her face. Adam's story really shocked her. She felt that the former senior was simply a miniature of her. If it were her, she would be able to do those things. It's normal to diss a nurse when you are in a bad mood and meet a nurse you don't like. After the confrontation, it is inevitable that she is stubborn and refuses to admit her mistakes. She is a high-ranking doctor, but the nurse can use so many twists and turns to reasonably retaliate against her, which is something she never expected. There is no way. She can only admit her mistakes from the heart. It's true that she is arrogant, but she is also rational enough. For a little face, she would bet on her future as a doctor. That was something a fool would do. Okay, I'll call other doctors for this case of severe diarrhea. Nurse Debbie was overjoyed by what Adam said, and finally let it go completely at Adam's signal. Thank you. Christina was also happy, because this not only meant that she could get rid of the endless dirty work, but also compete for her first adult male teratoma removal surgery. Go quickly. Adam was more active than Christina, because this was a good opportunity to stop losses in time after the conflict in surgery time, and turn losses into profits and make a lot of money. Christina nodded and ran away with a happy face. Ward. Adam gave Mrs. Gracewood a preoperative examination. Alan, Make sure they pull the catheter out of my throat after the operation. Mrs. Gracewood was chattering about tasks for her husband as always. Take a break, Mr. Gracewood advised. What did you say? Mrs. Gracewood's voice suddenly rose 90 degrees. The operation is about to start. Take a good rest and don't talk for now. Mr. Gracewood was silent for a moment, then lowered his head and said again, I can't talk anymore? Good. Are you annoyed with me? You're going too far. Mrs. Gracewood immediately lost her temper. Shut up. But this time, her husband, who had been honest all his life, did not bow his head and listen to her scolding like he had countless times before. He raised his head and yelled at her, and the louder he yelled until he was hoarse. I said shut up. You complain to me, blame me, and bother me all day long, every day. Can't you be quiet for a while, even for a little while? Can't you be quiet for a while in your life? Mr. Gracewood, please calm down. Adam noticed something was wrong when he started talking, and hurriedly tried to stop him. How could a heart patient withstand such a scolding? But the honest man couldn't control his anger at all. Soon, beep beep, the alarm on the monitor sounded. Mrs. Gracewood didn't know whether she was angry or scared. She covered her chest and had difficulty breathing. She's having a heart attack. 4 milligrams of morphine. Give her another injection of nitroglycerin, 10 micrograms per minute. Notify the operating room. Notify Dr. Green. Everyone hurry up. We'll do the surgery right away. Adam directed calmly. It's all my fault. Mr. Gracewood also recovered from his furious state, and seeing his wife like this, he blamed himself. Adam glanced at him and said nothing. This emergency was indeed caused by him, but considering their real situation, Adam could understand him. But Adam would not comfort him with words like your wife will be fine. An old man's heart that has undergone 3 heart surgeries is now undergoing a 4th heart surgery. In order to prevent the heart from being able to pace again, it can only be locally anesthetized. It's hard to say how the surgery will go, and even if Adam is 100% sure, he won't say these words. Giving hope first and then destroying it is the cruelest and most likely to cause the patient's family to sue. Professional doctors wouldn't do that. Operating room. Hey, Mrs. Gracewood's condition is unexpectedly good. Adam was the surgeon, and he was surprised when he cut open her chest. Indeed, Leonard, who always stood in the position of assistant to provide Adam with the opportunity to operate, took a look and nodded. Some people are just stronger. If it were an ordinary person, it would be difficult to survive the first operation, but Mrs. Gracewood survived the 4th operation and will continue to live well. I just don't know if Mr. Gracewood is happy or sad, Adam said leisurely. He is too pedantic. Leonard has always been Mrs. Gracewood's attending physician, so he knows the situation of their family very well. He shook his head and said, if he was a little braver, it wouldn't be like this now. Half of Mrs. Gracewood's strong character was cultivated by him. The anesthesiologists and nurses around looked at each other and smiled gossipingly. Stand back. The situation suddenly changed, and Adam instantly entered bullet time. In the field of vision, a spark burst out from the burning point of the electrocautery device in Adam's hand. Adam immediately pushed away Leonard, who was also bent over facing the fire. Leonard staggered after being pushed, and was a little confused for a moment. Red alert. At this time, the thermometer in the operating room sounded an alarm, and the nurse shouted, boom. A ball of fire burst out on Mrs. Gracewood's chest. If Adam hadn't pushed Leonard, Leonard's face would probably be covered by the flames with his bent posture. Start emergency fire extinguishing measures. Saline, wet towels, turn off the power, turn off the oxygen, put on the airbag and assist breathing. Evacuate unnecessary personnel immediately. Adam shouted repeatedly, quickly put out the fire with saline, and then used a wet towel to treat it and quickly stop the bleeding. What is amazing is that after this incident, Mrs. Gracewood seemed as if the fire was not burning her. Her vital signs were as good as before, far better than those of Dongjai, and even the young and strong heart could not compare with hers. You found it before the machine sounded the alarm? Leonard had seen big scenes before, and he recovered quickly. He immediately returned to the position of the first assistant to assist Adam in rescuing him. When he entered the stable operation again, He asked everyone's questions. "My eyesight is still good." Adam smiled while repairing his heart. "My reaction is also good." Everyone. P.S. Thanks to Lost in Wanran Mountain for the reward. Chapter 480. Laughing out loud and going out. Medical center. Operating room. Why did the fire start this time? Leonard frowned. Hospital fires are not particularly rare. Operating room fires account for the majority of hospital fires. This is not surprising, because there are three elements of fire in the operating room: inflammable materials, oxidants, and ignition sources. Among the inflammable materials, high alcohol is very common in surgical operating rooms that require comprehensive disinfection. Surgical towels, covering the patient's body, only the surgical area is exposed. Various cotton balls and towels for hemostasis, and from time to time there are accidents where the hemostatic towels are forgotten to be placed in the patient's chest. You can imagine how often these things are used. Various auxiliary materials, rubber and plastic products are all inflammable. Among the oxidants, oxygen. Needless to say, because there are often many people working for a long time and at a high intensity in the operating room, in order to avoid oxygen deficiency, hypoxia causes doctors and nurses to feel uncomfortable and their work efficiency decreases. The air conditioning system uses an oxygen-enriched air conditioning system. That is, medical high-concentration oxygen and natural air are mixed evenly, slightly increasing the oxygen concentration, so that doctors and nurses can be refreshed, work efficiently, and not easily fatigued. This oxygen-rich environment is naturally more prone to fire. Laughing gas, an anesthetic gas, is gradually being eliminated. Of course, this refers to being eliminated from the operating room, but its uses outside are becoming more and more common. Many girls especially like to inhale this to anesthetize themselves until their whole body is paralyzed. Compressed air, gas for ventilators and other equipment. Positive pressure environment. Non-infectious surgery generally uses a positive pressure environment, that is, the pressure in the operating room is slightly higher than outside the operating room, and the higher the pressure, the lower the ignition point, and the easier it is to burn. Finally, there is the source of fire. Electrocautery, electric knife, electric drill, laser, electricity and fire are inseparable, precisely because the three elements of fire are not lacking in the operating room. The preventive measures in the operating room are very strict. Generally, no fire will occur. Not to mention that when a patient is undergoing heart surgery, the chest cavity suddenly catches fire, which is unheard of in this era. Even Leonard was a little confused. Mrs. Gracewood had a sudden pneumothorax, and her lung tissue was slightly ruptured. The high-purity oxygen she breathed leaked out, and the sparks from the electrocautery device hit the dry hemostatic towel. Under the catalysis of this concentration of oxygen, it burst into flames. Adam had already deduced it in his mind, and immediately expressed his guess. "You said before that she was angry with Mr. Gracewood?" Leonard thought about it and nodded in approval of this speculation. He only had to wait for the heart surgery to be over and the lung tissue to be checked to confirm it. Well, she was holding her chest, having difficulty breathing, and having a heart attack, which covered up the symptoms of sudden pneumothorax. Adam explained. In Western medicine, the causes of the same symptoms are varied, often dozens or even hundreds. Many diseases, patients have them at the same time, and the symptoms overlap. They are all of the same manifestations. In an emergency, it is normal to ignore the secondary symptoms because of the main symptoms. Even Dr. House next door is often deceived by various similar symptoms. He needs to do various tests and eliminate them continuously before he can finally find the real cause and prescribe the right medicine. Adam, I remember you treated a case of lung explosion before? Leonard smiled. Yes. Adam smiled and said, a young man was beaten badly by his little cousin while playing games. He was so angry that his bully exploded. This vividly interprets the words exploded and anger hurts the body. Now it seems that it is not only young people who are so angry that they can explode themselves. Alas. Leonard shook his head and sighed. Even after this incident, the operation was still successful. Mrs. Gracewood showed amazing vitality. Family waiting area. Adam and Leonard told Mr. Gracewood, who was waiting here, about the success and accident of the operation. Her heart caught fire. Mr. Gracewood was stunned when he heard it. Yes, because Adam explained the reason, and the subsequent examination also verified his speculation. I hope you can understand that this is not as abnormal as it sounds. The operation was successful and your wife will be fine. Hee hee, ha ha ha. Mr. Gracewood first covered his face with his hands, with a strange expression, and then he couldn't control it. Hee, and finally laughed out loud. When he saw Adam and the others looking at him, he held back again and reduced his laughter to the level of laughing straight, but later, he couldn't control it. Hee. During her fourth heart operation, her heart caught fire, and she survived. Will she be fine in the future? Ha ha ha. Adam and Leonard looked at each other, smiled bitterly, and were a little helpless. Obviously, this good news for ordinary family members was not what Mr. Gracewood wanted. Ha ha, she's a bit like a mysterious monster. Mr. Gracewood smiled and waved his finger, saying what was in his heart. The kind that will never die. Ahem. Adam coughed lightly and suggested, Mr. Gracewood, maybe you need to rest and adjust yourself. We can talk again later. Wait a minute. No, I won't wait any longer. Mr. Gracewood shook his head repeatedly, stood up suddenly, stuffed his wife's bag directly to Adam, picked up his coat, and walked out with dancing steps. You tell her? Well, tell her that even without me, she can still live. Ha ha ha. After walking a few steps, he turned around again, smiled and saluted Adam and Leonard in an inappropriate way, opened the door, and left with a big laugh. I hope we don't need to find a psychiatrist for him. Leonard shook his head speechlessly. It shouldn't be necessary. Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was just too emotional for a while. He understood this kind of emotion. Thinking back to when I first came here, I knew that my girlfriend was the famous throat-slitting expert, Amazing Amy. I was so scared and cautious that I couldn't even mention it. After being forced to become an acting genius, he had to go through so much trouble to get Amazing Amy to get rid of him. After being completely freed, he screamed like crazy. Not much better than Mr. Gracewood. How depressed he was before, how crazy he is now. This is normal. He is not crazy. After venting his emotions, he will slowly get better. Isn't the first adult male teratoma removal surgery also this afternoon? Leonard raised his hand to check the time, stood up and said, it shouldn't be over yet. Let's go and take a look. Okay. Adam naturally had no objection. Observing the operating room. This operation lasted a long time, and many doctors who bought standing seats were called away before they could see the whole process. Therefore, when Adam and Leonard came, although it was a bit crowded, they could still watch. Adam looked inside and saw Christina standing there as the second assistant, and couldn't help but smile knowingly. A rare operation and a favor. Got. Chapter 481. Go and invite Muscle Adam. Observing the operating room. When a spherical mass was taken out of Mr. Herman's body, everyone was amazed. What a pity that it can't be put in a glass bottle for exhibition. Someone sighed. Yes. What a miracle. Someone agreed. It would be better if he didn't strongly request that it be stopped. Another person said with regret. Adam couldn't help but laugh. Generally, patients don't care about what is removed during surgery, and they are all handed over to the hospital for unified treatment. But there are exceptions. For example, the dangerous older pseudo Lolita that Adam met at the beginning. After her adoptive mother had a miscarriage, she used the ashes of the cremated female fetus after the miscarriage as fertilizer to cultivate a pot of flowers. Looking at flowers is like looking at people, but it was useless. Those who should be sad are still sad. In the end, they still have to adopt a girl to replace it. Then the family was broken up. For example, this time, Mr. Herman really regarded the teratoma in his stomach as a fetus at the beginning, and placed some emotions in it. So he strongly opposed the doctors to use the teratoma as an exhibit after the operation. This is far more normal than growing flowers. Even if the doctors were not happy, they had to do it. After all, this was not Einstein's brain. It was not worth it for doctors to risk losing their licenses or even going to jail to steal, dissect and study it. An afternoon passed quickly. At night, the news came that Barney's buttocks were kissed by a golden-crested rattlesnake, and Matthew, Lily and others came to visit again. What's going on? Lily couldn't help but complain. Barney, it's you again. It's not my fault. Barney lay on his side and shouted, blame this hospital, blame Adam. It's understandable to blame the hospital, but how can you blame Adam? Lily said dissatisfiedly. The first person to blame is him, Barney wailed. Count, how many times have I been unlucky since I met him? The two thought about it and looked at each other in surprise. Could it be that Adam is Barney's nemesis? Matthew thought. Even if it is, it's not Adam's fault. Lily retorted, it's always Barney who makes trouble first, and then Adam makes a bet with you and teaches you a lesson. You know what Adam means, but you still agree to the bet enthusiastically. Can you blame others? You can only blame yourself. Yes, Matthew laughed. Barney, you asked for it. What are you talking about? So happy? Adam knew that Matthew and Lily were coming, so he came to say hello. His life for the next few years will focus on the hospital. He rarely participates in friends' gatherings and it's difficult to meet. Therefore, he cherishes the opportunity to meet in the hospital as much as possible, even if it's just to come and see and say hello. It's good. Nothing, just that Barney deserves it, Lily said, hugged Matthew, and looked at Adam nervously and expectantly. Adam, we want to ask you for a favor. What help? Adam asked. There's a monster in our apartment. The two hugged and said tremblingly. What? Adam was stunned. We just got off work, Lily began to describe. Ahem. I know you guys are in love, so there's no need to say those unspeakable things. Just get to the point. Adam interrupted immediately. Lily and Matthew were extremely in love, and they couldn't wait to push the door open after work. It was basic, no nonsense, but it would be bad to say it out loud. Adam was the pure son, and he couldn't stand hearing these things that were not suitable for children. Just when I looked up, I suddenly caught a glimpse of the monster and was immediately scared, Lily said in horror. I quickly pointed it out to Matthew, and Matthew was also scared when he saw it. Adam couldn't help but look at Matthew. I was really scared. Matthew put his hand in front of him to cover it, and said embarrassedly, we ran out of the apartment directly, and then thought that Barney was in trouble again, so we came to see it, and by the way, asked you, who has the highest martial arts value and muscles in our circle of friends, to come out. This monster must be subdued by Adam. I think you came here specifically to ask Adam to subdue some monster, and then you came to see me by the way? Barney said with a bad face. It's not important. Lily waved her hand. The important thing is that the monster is too scary. What kind of monster is it? Adam complained. It can't be a cockroach rat? Cockroach rat? Matthew and Lily were stunned, and then they gave their answers. It was the craziest and most disgusting rat. It was a supergiant cockroach. It's a rat. It has whiskers. It's a cockroach. It has tentacles. The two began to argue. Stop, 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 Adam interrupted. Isn't what you described a cockroach rat that is a combination of rats and cockroaches? Combined mutated cockroach rat? Matthew and Lily looked at each other, compromised, and recognized Adam's name, and then exclaimed, Adam, have you seen it? No, Adam complained, but I have two friends who, like you, also discovered this magical species, and their reactions are exactly the same as yours. Really? Matthew and Lily were deeply skeptical. It couldn't be more true, Adam said seriously, and they are exactly the same. Is it really so magical? Who are they? Matthew and Lily exclaimed and were very interested in Adam's two friends. One is called Guangu, and the other is called Mika. Adam smiled. They are both foreigners. You don't know them. Ah, Lily exclaimed. So, the cockroach rat is a species distributed globally. Why hasn't it been reported before? There are so many mysteries like this in the world. Matthew became excited when he heard this, like Bigfoot, the Yeti, the Nusky, and so on. The Earth is so big. How much have we humans explored? Okay, I'll go with you to see this legendary cockroach rat. Adam smiled. I have a hunch that this cockroach rat should be the first in the world. Why? Lily asked puzzledly. Then what about the one your two friends found? The one they found should be the descendant. Adam teased. Don't ask. Asking is just intuition. Friendly reminder. Cockroach rats can fly. What? Matthew and Lily were shocked. Can fly? Cockroaches and rats can't fly. This is a mutant monster. It makes sense. Adam smiled. But what is the reason for its mutation? Matthew was puzzled. This is New York. not an island country. Yes, isn't it radiation that causes mutation? Lily agreed. Radiation is indeed the biggest cause. Adam nodded and said, but it's not just that, and it's not just island countries that have been nuclearized. There are nuclear experiments in many places in the world. Having said this, he stopped talking, because the following content is not suitable to be said in public. According to Adam's memory of his previous life, the number of nuclear experiments in the United States is completely incomparable to that of island countries. That is a typical example of being really ruthless and not even sparing their own people. Some sparsely populated states in the United States have undergone many secret nuclear experiments, causing a wide range of radiation, and they were all secretly kept secret from the citizens in the irradiated areas. Later, the probability of people in these areas getting cancer was many times higher than that in other areas. After being exposed, a class action lawsuit occurred. If cockroach rats are monsters mutated by radiation, then the probability of being born in the United States is much greater than that of being born in an island country. As for appearing in the East country, that's a joke. P.S. Thanks to Dazu, 348535.qdcn, and Wagdump for the rewards. Chapter 482 Angle is really important. Matthew's apartment. Adam drove them here, ready to make a quick decision. After we catch it, we can send it to the Columbia University Biological Center. Maybe it will be a great biological discovery. Adam laughed. No, Lily couldn't stand it when she heard it. She was the kindest person. They will do experiments on it, which is too cruel. So? Adam glanced at her. So? Can't we just beat it to death with a stick? The kind-hearted Lily suggested sincerely. That makes sense. Adam nodded seriously, but no one knows what it is. What if it has some infectious source? If it is beaten to death with a stick, blood will splatter and cause pollution, which is not good. Then you should catch it alive. Lily changed her mind immediately after hearing it. Adam, what a rare guest. After opening the door, Ted was also there, walking around anxiously. Ted, you also found it, right? Lily looked around in horror. What? Ted was puzzled. Cockroaches, Matthew reminded. Why are you so anxious? You forgot. I'm going to the singles end station later. Ted was entangled. When the time comes, I'm not sure if this decision is right. If you're not sure, why go? Adam laughed. I can't help it. That's science. Ted rubbed his hands and said, I can't help but believe in science, right? Haha. Adam laughed. Tell me, anti-intellectualism was not so prevalent in the United States at that time. Okay, with Ted's excellent architectural designer, he became the person in charge of the preparation of the 78-story skyscraper project at a young age. He is definitely a middle class, and an upper middle class. Even in the future, such a Ted will still choose to believe in science, not anti-intellectualism, because the butt determines the head. Those who pursue anti-intellectualism are all middle and lower class. Are they really stupid? Not really. It's just that the fruitful results brought by science have not benefited them much. Take the pharmaceutical industry for example. They can't afford the special medicines developed with huge funds. The medical insurance pays more and more, but the coverage is getting smaller and smaller. The poor get poorer, and the rich get richer. No matter how advanced technology is, what does it have to do with the poor? Since we are all going to die, why don't we believe in God and have to believe in science? The more you upper-class people believe in science, the more we oppose it. This is a silent and helpless resistance. Didn't I go to apologize to the colleague who resigned last night? Ted explained. While chatting, we talked about being single and lonely. Oh, Adam smiled meaningfully. You are so sorry to him. Have you compensated him for his mental loss? He. Matthew and Lily, who were searching for cockroaches and rats everywhere, heard this and looked over with understanding, laughing. What are you thinking? Ted smiled bitterly. We don't have that idea at all. You don't have it. Adam smiled. I dare say that as long as you are willing, the other party will definitely not object to your way of apology. Well, I say, you should do this, because it is more sincere, no matter what. Ted is also the male protagonist of a popular American TV series. Handsome is needless to say, not to mention that he exudes a romantic atmosphere. The lethality to girls is tons. No matter how fat the fat girl heard by Ted was, She couldn't withstand tons of attack power. Anyway, Ted rolled his eyes without answering. We are talking about this topic. She said that she recently joined the singles end station, but until now, she hasn't found a good match for her. In addition, what I said unintentionally, she resigned in anger, so you can't blame me entirely. Then what? Adam asked curiously. Why do you want to join too? Originally, I didn't believe in this singles end station. Ted smiled bitterly, but I heard her talk about it in a magical way. She used some mathematical calculation formula to eliminate all the people in New York, and finally there were very few people who were suitable for her. If you don't want to try your luck in finding a needle in a haystack, it's better to go to the singles end station. The boss there, Alan Pascal, is the most awesome top matchmaker in New York. He is very capable and has a 100% success rate in matching men and women. You're not going to wait for that girl. Adam couldn't help laughing. And what about your slut pumpkin girl? Halloween is in a few weeks. Yeah. Ted smiled awkwardly. Of course I have to wait. I just want to try it first. Maybe you don't have to give me your phone number in half a year. I can get it from the singles end station. Think about it. Doesn't this mean that we are really destined to be together? As for the slut pumpkin girl, that's just a thought of mine. I just want to see her again, and there's no other intention. He said this with a very sincere look. Adam sighed and shook his head. Damn romanticism. Ted met a girl in a pumpkin costume at a Halloween party on the roof of an apartment building a few years ago. As for why a slut was added, imagine what a pumpkin costume looks like. At that time, Ted had an election sign hanging around his neck, acting as an election sign. The two had a pleasant chat, and the slut pumpkin girl even gave Ted her phone number. Unfortunately, it was put in the candy and taken away by a child. Ted was very sad to lose a pumpkin cannon. His inherent romantic temperament made him choose to wear the same clothes and hang an election sign on Halloween every year, waiting on the roof for a night for the slut pumpkin girl who was almost impossible to appear again. He persisted for several years. It seems that he will continue to persist. If he really waits for this, with such a sensational story, can a pumpkin cannon still escape? It's a disaster for women to be a playboy like Ted. Whoever runs into him is unlucky. A key question. Adam put away his feelings about the slut pumpkin girl incident and raised a finger. Do you really think such a good girl would join the singles termination station? Ted was stunned. Go. Adam changed the subject. If she really appears in the database of the singles termination station, it means that you two are really destined to be together. What if she doesn't? Ted couldn't help asking. That means you are not, Adam said with a smile. Let's see what kind of best girlfriend this so-called top matchmaker in New York can choose for you using her scientific formula. Okay. Ted hesitated for a while, but finally decided to go, encouraging himself. If a mouse and a cockroach can find true love in New York, then I can do it too. What did you say? Matthew shouted. Do you think this cockroach is the fruit of love between a mouse and a cockroach? Lily shouted in disgust. It's so ugly and disgusting. How can it be the fruit of love? Why not? Ted interpreted it from a romantic perspective. Of course not. Adam hit him mercilessly. Do you know about reproductive isolation? I'm just making a metaphor. Ted looked at Adam with dissatisfaction, picked up his coat, and walked out. He felt that these friends could not keep up with his romantic thinking at all. At this moment, he missed Barney very much. Although Barney was not romantic enough, he was romantic enough, and at least he had some romance. I'm just kidding. You can do it. Adam teased Ted from behind. I hope you find your mother mouse, Ted. Chapter 483, You Believe Me. Matthew's apartment. After Ted left, Lily and Matthew's search finally paid off. Adam, here, the two screamed in fear. Adam walked over quickly and looked in the direction they were looking. It was indeed mutated and disgusting enough that even the well-informed Adam couldn't help but say something disgusting. It's coming. Lily and Matthew stepped back. Watch me. Adam put on a mask, goggles, and gloves, fully armed, and leaned over to get close to the cockroach rat. After a few seconds of confrontation, he reached out and grabbed it like lightning. Then he immediately put it in a glass container that had been prepared long ago and covered it. It's not that Adam's speed has surpassed the agility of animals. It's just that this cockroach rat is not afraid of people. Adam has no doubt that after the Columbia University Biological Center dissects it, it will definitely be found that in the same proportion, this cockroach rat is much braver than ordinary mice and cockroaches. Come here. Adam held the glass jar and observed it while calling Matthew and Lily, who were hiding far away. Seeing that they were still timid, he couldn't help but laugh. Matthew, I can understand why Lily is so scared, but you are a tall man of 193 centimeters. Is it that serious? This is not fear. Matthew raised his head and chest, trying to show that he was not afraid. Oh, really? Adam pushed the glass jar in front of him. Ah! Matthew screamed immediately and stepped back quickly. If this is not fear, what is it? Adam teased. This is awe of mysterious things. Yes, it is awe. Matthew covered his chest and tried to save face. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. Matthew was born in Minnesota, and his family are all tall. His father and two brothers are all over 2 meters. Matthew's height of 193 can only compare with the female comrades in the family, and he is still crushing them. Some sisters-in-law are taller than him. They all eat super large portions. Mayonnaise is used for cooking, while others use spoons. The secret recipe of the Erickson family is to use cups, and 16 cups at that. The salads are all 7 layers. When playing games, the already violent football can no longer satisfy the appetite of these giants. They invented blue ice hockey, which is a combination of basketball and ice hockey. The rules are, there are no rules, it's just a violent mess. They use ice hockey sticks to hit brothers and fathers and sons. It depends on luck if they can't win. Whoever admits defeat loses. When Matthew was about to become an adult, when he took over his brother's car, the test he accepted was to drive naked to buy coffee. In order to have a car, Matthew naturally accepted it. But Matthew's two brothers went to the coffee shop one step ahead and bought all the coffee trays. Matthew had no choice but to put the family's coffee cups one by one in the car and prepared to drive back slowly. At this moment, his two brothers suddenly appeared, frightening Matthew so much that he lost his grip and all the coffee fell. The boiling hot coffee was poured on Matthew and probably on Matthew's brothers. TSK. That feeling, it's definitely something that only brothers can do. It was really beyond Adam's expectation that Matthew, who grew up in such an environment, would be afraid of a small cockroach. But considering that Matthew did have an inexplicable awe for mysterious beings such as Bigfoot, Yeti, and Loch Ness Monster, it was reasonable. This needs to be handed over to the Columbia University Biological Center. I don't have time. Matthew, can you do it? Adam asked, holding the glass jar. Matthew swallowed and said reluctantly, I can. It just so happens that I have a friend who is engaged in Columbia University biology. He will definitely like this. Of course. Adam handed over the glass jar and smiled. Maybe it can change his career. Matthew stretched out his hand and retracted it several times, but finally took it. Lily felt that everything was under control. The cockroach rat probably couldn't break through the glass jar and rushed out, so it slowly approached and looked at it. How disgusting. It's all Ed's fault. He ruined my perfect understanding of the fruit of love. Okay, you guys take your time to watch it. I have to go back to the hospital. Adam ignored Lily's words, smiled and said, and left. I still have to read Alice Gray's legendary experience pack tonight. Medical Center. Outside the building, as soon as he arrived, Adam saw a bloody scene. Goodbye, Derek. Goodbye. Meredith. Dr. Shept, who was wearing his off-duty clothes, was sitting on the outdoor bench, facing Meredith, who stood up and looked at him and made a solemn pun. He was stunned for a moment and also replied solemnly, this goodbye not only means going back to your own homes after get off work, but also means no more ambiguity in the future and finding your own love. It seems that Meredith is finally ready to come out. In response, Adam's mouth curled up. What are you laughing at? Meredith was sharp-eyed. When she returned to the hospital, she saw the curve of Adam's mouth and couldn't help asking, nothing. Adam shook his head. Drake and I are done. Meredith actually knew what Adam was laughing at, so she took the initiative to explain. Well, I believe you. Adam imitated Meredith's solemnity just now. looked at Meredith for several seconds with a sense of ceremony, and then nodded seriously. Meredith felt bad all over. She felt that Adam was mocking her. "You don't believe it? Why do you say that?" Adam grinned. "My attitude is exactly the same as yours." Meredith was furious. "Would you like to make a bet?" Adam soothed. "Just bet on a rare surgery. If you really manage to never have any contact with Dr. Shept again, I will give you a rare surgery in the future. If you can't do it, you owe me a rare surgery. How about it? You earn it for free." Meredith opened her mouth to agree, but when she met Adam's expectant eyes, she pursed her lips, said nothing, and walked away quickly. "It's really a free money, you believe me?" Adam shouted at her back. "Alas, young people nowadays have no sincerity and integrity at all." Adam shook his head and laughed. Meredith said goodbye solemnly, but she was just suddenly emotional and felt that she could let it go. But between lovers, have there been indescribable experiences? That is the difference between 0 and 1. Why do almost everyone dislike their lover's ex-lover? For the contact between lovers and ex-lover, it is even more prevented as much as possible. Isn't it because the risk of them reliving the old dream is countless times that of strangers? When emotions come, it's normal to have sex and be green. Meredith knew it herself. She was different from ordinary girls, not to mention the old love that was still intact. Even if she met a random stranger, she would not dare to say that she could win Adam's bet with a passive skill of 100% drunken belt falling off. In this case, she was stupid to agree to Adam. Chapter 484 Zayu or Banksy Unite, Medical Center. The small class started again. "Hey, why are you the only one here?" Adam looked at Christina in surprise. "Meredith doesn't want to come tonight. She went to the bar." Christina sat down with all her notes, and said casually. George heard it and followed. "Liz is now very respected by Dr. Montgomery. She is working overtime and is exhausted. She has no time to come. As for Bianca and the others, I have to ask you." Ahem. Adam coughed lightly and smiled in a very Buddhist way. "Those who want to come will come naturally, and those who don't want to come can't be forced to come." Christina gave a sneering expression. "Why didn't Bianca come?" "Because she and Adam had some small disagreements." The reason? "Naturally, in the recent period of time, Adam was busy helping Kate sort out the case while serving Peggy and preparing to deliver their first child. In the daily schedule, the time originally belonging to Bianca was greatly compressed. Although Adam's endurance is not much worse than Nardo's, but after all, he can't use the reverse harem technique and can't split into countless people. One is in New Jersey, one is in New York. If no one is here, no matter how strong your endurance is, it's useless. After a long time, even though Bianca knew it well, she still couldn't help but get angry. What kind of person is Adam? He is an honest man. Of course, he can't lie to her with false feelings. All choices are left to her. This is definitely not no rejection, no initiative, no responsibility. Absolutely not. This time, there are only Adam and Christina in the small kitchen. It's a real small kitchen. After the end, "Didn't Dr. Burke make an appointment with you?" Adam comforted Alice Gray, told the nurse to take good care of her, and walked out side by side with Christina. "I made an appointment." Christina shrugged and said, "But I turned it down." A date is not as important as learning from Alice Gray. "You can do it." Adam gave a thumbs up. "You will definitely become an excellent surgeon in the future." For someone who doesn't have a cheat code, Christina, who is talented and persistent, will definitely succeed in the future without any surprises. Of course, she may not reach the legendary level of Alice Gray, because it is not something that can be achieved with talent and hard work. It also requires a lot of luck, but it is still very hopeful to reach the level of a famous doctor like Dr. Burke, or even a master like Richard, the chief of surgery. "Just excellent." Christina rolled her eyes at Adam. "Are you humiliating me? My goal has always been Alice Gray." "Of course not." Adam smiled. "You know I don't mean that." Christina glanced at Adam and nodded. "That's good. There is indeed a gap between us, but I will always catch up and will never admit defeat." "I think your date with Dr. Burke will be very interesting," Adam teased. "That's a nightmare," Christina complained. "He doesn't know me at all, and has never seen me outside the hospital." "Haha, really?" Adam smiled playfully. "Naked doesn't count," Christina added immediately. and then continued to complain. He seems like an old antique from the 1950s and 1960s, the kind who wants to marry women immediately after sleeping with them. But he didn't ask us if we are willing. What I hate most is talking about personal matters, but now he seems to be interested in everything about me, which is really weird. I would rather he be more like you, huh? Adam's eyes immediately slanted away. That's a compliment. Christina spread her hands and said, "Aren't you that kind of person? Aren't you and your female friends doing well?" "Yeah." Adam nodded in approval. "This is the truth. If you ask me, why don't we go to a restaurant for a date?" Christina complained. "We obviously have a better place to date. We can just attend Alice Gray's open class together, learn more professional knowledge, and have enough fun. Isn't that great?" But he obviously has this idea, but he is unwilling to come because of his attending physician and the famous chief doctor of the cardiothoracic surgery department of the medical center. "You can try harder." Adam's eyes lit up and encouraged. "Such a date is so interesting." "Really?" Christina was excited. "You think so too?" "Of course." Adam nodded. "All your contacts happened in the hospital, and Dr. Burke admires you the most. In fact, what kind of person you are in life is not important at all." "Thank you." Christina had an expression of finally someone understands me. Haha. Adam smiled. The reason why he said this was completely to pull Dr. Burke's strong men. During working hours, Dr. Burke's teaching time all happened in the operating room. Not only is the time short, but you also have to rely on luck. But once Dr. Burke joins the small kitchen, Adam can go all out and communicate with Dr. Burke for a long time. Although Dr. Burke's realm and experience are not as good as the legendary Alice Gray, he is also a famous doctor and has unique expertise in certain areas. Moreover, he has been performing surgeries and making progress. This is still very attractive to Adam. Under normal circumstances, it would be a stretch to ask Dr. Lubbock to come. The attending doctor has his own life after get off work, so how could he waste his precious spare time for you? But now Dr. Burke is so green in love. Then using Christina to hook Dr. Burke is very promising. The best thing is that Christina has the same ideas and interests as him. TSK. This is why he is most willing to get close to Christina as a friend among so many doctor colleagues. The next day, early in the morning, a new day began. Meredith covered her head, and with a hangover, she sat on a bench outside the building drinking coffee to refresh herself. Christina was chatting with her. "Every time I kick them out, they look sad." Meredith laughed. "Honestly, why don't these men understand that you took him home from the bar without real feelings? It's simple." Adam heard this from a distance, walked over, and laughed. "Because it's usually men who say this. If it's you, they're just a little uncomfortable and unused to it. Not really sad." "Then you men should get used to it." Meredith laughed. "In the future, more and more women will treat you men like this." "I hope not." Adam grinned. Meredith. At this time, a strange man came over and greeted Meredith. "Do you work here?" "Steve, what are you doing here?" Meredith's face changed. Because this was the tool she met at the bar last night and was just kicked out, she had reason to suspect that the other party followed her here. "I have a small question." Stephen hesitated. "What small question?" His best friend Christina, who was examining him, instantly turned into Dr. Christina and asked with bright eyes. "Actually, it's a big problem." Stephen saw that Adam and the others were all doctors, so he loosened his coat and revealed his big problem. PFFT. Adam was about to burst out laughing, but he held it back and almost got hurt. "In the future, when someone asks who is the show-off in the medical center, Adam will only have one answer: Meredith Gray." Chapter 485. I get excited when I talk about this. Medical center. Outside the building, Meredith states Stephen showed his problem to Adam and the other doctors. Adam almost couldn't hold back. In the past, he only thought Meredith was an old driver, and a gifted old driver who was 100% drunk and had a belt falling off. But now he knew, he had underestimated her after all. She was still the legendary Zyur, the real Zayu of God's creation. Christina stared at him with a sly smile. Meredith, who was originally looking at Stephen's face, realized it later and looked down to see his symptoms. Then she felt bad. "I'm screwed." This was the only thought in Meredith's mind under the thunderbolt. Just now, it was revealed that she was dumped by Dr. Shept, and the drama of the mistress was abandoned was the center of gossip and scandal in the hospital. Wherever she went, people pointed at her and laughed at her. Now that such a scene happened again, she really couldn't face people. Cover it up. Adam suppressed his laughter and reminded, there are people coming and going here. If you have any illness, wait until you get to the ward. Oh. Stephen quickly took his coat and covered himself in front of him. He was so tough because he was anxious. Otherwise, who would be willing to reveal such privacy in public? Let's go. Let's go to the clinic, Adam called. Let's go. Christina threw the coffee and agreed with shining eyes. Of course, she did not forget to pull up her best friend Meredith, who was in a state of dismay. After all, Meredith was also the victim. Some illnesses still need to be consulted with her. This is definitely not a matter of watching the fun. It is a formal procedure to be responsible for the patient's condition. Let's go. Christina hugged Meredith and reminded, now while there is no one around, let's take a look at him together. If there is no big problem, let him go quickly. This is the wisest thing. What if we can't cure it? Meredith said with a bitter face. With Adam here, there will be no problem. Christina was very confident. Of course, the premise is that Adam is willing to keep it a secret for you. Yes. Meredith was immediately shocked when she heard it, and hurried to catch up, holding Adam, asking Adam to help with the treatment and keep it a secret. I'll try my best, Adam said non-committally, but if the situation is serious, you must report it to your superiors, and everything will go through the formal procedures. Although Meredith was not satisfied, she knew that Adam had always been like this, so she had no choice but to accept it, secretly praying that Stephen was just a minor problem. Unfortunately, things in the world are not as expected. 9 out of 10. Emergency room. Treatment room. Adam put on a big white coat and gloves, and after a very professional examination, he asked the embarrassed Stephen, have you taken medicine? Take medicine. Stephen was surprised. Take medicine. Meredith subconsciously said, impossible. The victim Stephen didn't react for a while, but Adam and Christina both showed meaningful smiles. Why is Meredith so sure? The old driver is disgusted with him. It's medicine for treating epilepsy. Adam reminded, your current symptoms are called Duncan's persistent tremor, which is usually caused by overuse of medicine for treating epilepsy. No, I swear, I didn't take any medicine. Stephen understood and quickly denied it, and looked at Meredith, who was a little confused. Everything between us is natural. Well, since there is no evidence to prove that you are lying, we believe what you said, Adam said seriously, so we have to find other reasons, but this requires many tests, many treatments, extreme discomfort and pain, and may even make you regret having Duncan. So, are you sure you don't want to change your story? Stephen, you must tell the truth, Meredith said nervously. Dr. Duncan is not scaring you. Those tests and treatments are really painful. Then she quickly said a few indescribable details. When Stephen heard it, his brown face turned pale in an instant, and he couldn't help but hunched his body. It's okay to take medicine. Meredith prayed that Stephen was lying, because if that's the case, then the cause of the disease is clear. It will be easy to treat afterwards without so much mobilization. This embarrassing story can only be spread among friends. As long as she is firm, her friends will not spread it outside. You must tell us the truth, so that we can help you treat and relieve your pain as soon as possible. I really didn't take any medicine. Stephen's face was pale, and he said in a trembling voice, if I took it, I would definitely tell you. Sorry, Meredith. Adam smiled apologetically. It seems that Stephen will be hospitalized. He should not lie. Meredith, give him some sedatives, draw some blood, and then there will be a whole set of examination procedures. Me? Meredith shouted. It's either you or Christina. You decide. Adam smiled and said, I have something else to do. Those basic examinations can be done by any skilled nurse. If Adam was not the attending physician, he would not have done such a non-technical and extremely time-consuming job. And according to this situation, we can't let Stephen be engorged all the time, otherwise, he will have a sheep's tail, a golden infarction, or even necrosis over time. Then he will be forced to practice the sunflower manual, although it is the difference between 0 times and countless times. But under normal circumstances, no man is willing to take such a small step. Therefore, Physical means will most likely be used to make Steven's blood vessels constrict, aka, he needs a doctor to give him an enema. If the enema doesn't work, acupuncture and suction will be required next. No matter Meredith does it herself or begs Christina for help. Anyway, Adam knows that he will never do it. I have something else to do. Christina followed Adam and dodged. Watching the fun is one thing. Giving this kind of treatment to the person you met at a girlfriend's party is another thing. Even as professional as she is, she will feel a little awkward. Meredith opened her mouth to speak, but no one could hear her words. She could only awkwardly accompany the man she kicked out this morning to do various embarrassing examinations. An hour later, Adam. Meredith came over. "How is it?" Adam gave the nurse a few instructions, then looked at her with a smile. Steven's tests were all normal. I asked Christina to give him an enema, but it didn't work. Then I did acupuncture aspiration, which succeeded in making him relax. Meredith whispered. "That's good." Adam nodded. "What's the problem?" "We don't know either," Meredith said anxiously. "He just became like before." "Adam, come with me to take a look." Again, Adam was surprised. "That means it's a neurological problem, maybe a tumor. Let's go and take a look." As soon as he said this, he became excited. Tumor surgery is never a small operation. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486 High Energy Early Warning Medical Center. Ward, Dr. Bailey. When Adam was invited by Meredith, he opened the door and saw a sneer on his face. Christina showed a helpless expression. "Are you surprised that I'm here?" Dr. Bailey taunted. "If I remember correctly, you are my intern. Any action you take in the hospital must be approved by me. Or do you think you can hide it from me and do something secretly again?" "I'm sorry." Meredith apologized immediately. "Dr. Bailey, this is my friend. His condition is a little special, so we thought." "What do you think?" Dr. Bailey interrupted. "This is a hospital. I don't want you to think. I want me to think." "What I think is very simple. You just listen obediently, strictly abide by the hospital's rules and regulations, and study hard to become a qualified surgeon." "Is this that difficult for you?" "Not difficult," Christina quickly replied. She didn't want to be included in the ranks of Meredith by Dr. Bailey. If Meredith wasn't her best friend, she would definitely add, "There's no us, only Meredith." "I've advised her not to do this." "Not difficult?" Dr. Bailey sneered. "So you're trying to embarrass me?" Christina and Meredith were speechless. Adam was watching with his eyes and nose. He was not an intern under Dr. Bailey, and he was not an ordinary intern. But if he dared to speak out, he would definitely be hit by Dr. Bailey's full coverage, so he chose to stay out of it. Unfortunately, the tree wants to be quiet but the wind does not stop. "What's wrong with you?" Dr. Bailey glared at the two most promising interns under his command for a while, and with the remaining anger, he stared at Adam who was pretending to be invisible. "Meredith asked me to come and see the patient." Adam smiled innocently. "Ha," Dr. Bailey mocked. "We all know you are great, but no matter how great you are still an intern. Is this kind of consultation something you can do?" "No," Adam nodded sincerely, "so I just came to take a look. If there is any problem, I will report it immediately." This sounds bad, but it is the truth. Adam is indeed very skilled and is still improving rapidly. However, his identity is still an intern. Without the permission of the senior doctor, theoretically, he cannot see patients. This is also the reason why he refused Meredith's request that he secretly take over Steven's case at the beginning. "Hey," Dr. Bailey curled his lips. He was still very satisfied with Adam's attitude. In addition, Adam was different after all, so one nod was enough. So he turned his eyes to Meredith again. "Your friend, all the tests you did on him were normal. Enema and acupuncture were useless. It should be a neurological problem." "We thought so too, so I went to find Adam," Meredith said quickly. "Consult Duncan?" Dr. Bailey interrupted. "You should consult a neurosurgeon for a neurological problem, not Duncan. In a case like his, if it's delayed any longer, He might really die. Ah, Stephen, who was lying on the hospital bed and watching the show with his flag up, couldn't help but exclaimed. "Don't worry. I've called a consultation," Dr. Bailey comforted. "Consultation?" Meredith's voice immediately rose 90 degrees. "You consulted a neurosurgeon?" Adam once again felt the feeling of laughing uncontrollably when he first met Stephen, and it was so uncomfortable to hold it back. He had it so hard. How could such a weird thing happen? "Meredith, you are really a showman." "Hey, it's not my fault." Dr. Bailey also understood why Meredith reacted so strongly, but understanding did not mean that she accepted it. She put one hand on her waist and retorted, "You broke this guy's brother." Meredith was speechless and ashamed. Christina lowered her head so much that her face almost overlapped with her chest, trying to hide her expression of almost unable to hold back her laughter. Adam wanted to say something fair. It was true that there was tissue contusion, but it was not to the extent of breaking, not to the extent. Then he thought of Meredith's words in the morning, which were usually said by men. Yes, a woman brings a man home from a bar, and the man still expects this woman to have real feelings for him. That's really treating you like a cow or a horse. In Adam's previous life, there were many classic summaries of these scenes. Those who understand will understand. Think about it this way. Meredith kicked Stephen out early in the morning, which was a disguised mercy to Stephen. After all, Stephen walked into the hospital instead of moving step by step with the help of the wall. Meredith is a kind person who does not dry up the pond to catch fish. "Good morning, everyone." Just as Meredith was about to die of shame and anger, and Adam and others were secretly laughing, a lively and cheerful greeting came in with the sound of footsteps. "The neurosurgeon consultant called by Dr. Bailey has arrived." Who else could it be but Dr. Shept, the famous chief neurosurgeon? Meredith, with his back to the door, closed his eyes, and his body was a little shaky. The final torture finally came. "So, what's going on?" Dr. Shept smiled and nodded to everyone. He was in a very good mental state. He broke up with his girlfriend Meredith last night, and it was his girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, who had thought it through and took the initiative to break up in a friendly and peaceful manner. He knew that she didn't blame him. She could only blame this humorous fate. After putting down a big burden, he went back at night and relived his old dreams with his wife, who had been arguing for several months and almost divorced him for the first time. Barney said, "A short separation is better than a new marriage." This is the highest enjoyment for urban men and women, along with breakup sex, retention sex, etc. Dr. Shept couldn't help but shine today. He greeted everyone with a smile. Dr. Bailey looked at Meredith and motioned her to answer. "It's like this." After all, Christina was her best friend. Although she smiled, she saw that her best friend was about to faint, so she quickly took over the topic and told her about the condition. "Yeah." Dr. Shept didn't think much about it, nodded, walked to the bed, slightly lifted the towel covering Stephen, and looked inside. "When did this problem start?" "I dusted last night, and it was still like this when I woke up this morning." Stephen didn't know the relationship between Dr. Shept and Meredith. Seeing Dr. Shept's question, he said naturally, "Dr. Shept, if you don't need me here, I have something else to do." Dr. Bailey didn't bother to watch the bloody plot that followed, and directly asked to leave. "Yeah." Dr. Shept nodded and continued to look at Stephen. "When was the last time you dusted?" Adam showed a playful smile. Christina smiled sideways and looked at her best friend with a look that was a perfect expression. Meredith had no time to pay attention to Adam and Christina. She looked as if she was dying, hoping that this nightmare would pass quickly. But the more you fear something, the more likely it is to happen. "I don't remember." Stephen, who was lying on the bed, thought about it, but had no answer. He turned his head to look at Meredith and asked naturally, "Meredith?" Meredith closed her eyes in pain. Dr. Shept stopped recording the patient's condition, raised his head suddenly, and looked at Meredith in disbelief. The good mood of the day was completely gone. Chapter 487. This knife cuts off the non-medical center. In the ward, Dr. Bailey also told me something. Christina couldn't bear to look at it anymore, so she found an excuse to slip out, and gave Adam a look to get out of the way. But then she regretted it, because Adam stood there calmly, ignoring her eyes, and smiled slightly. which was very dazzling. Damn, I was careless. Christina seemed to be hit by 5 lightning whips, and her whole body was shocked, but the words had already been spoken, and she couldn't stop her steps to the door. She could only give Adam a hateful glare of "you don't have martial ethics," and left unhappily. Emotions ruin things. If Meredith hadn't been involved, Christina would definitely stay and rush for the operation. In addition, she was the one who performed enema and acupuncture suction on Stephen, so she had the advantage. Adam watched Christina out, and refocused his eyes on the awkward atmosphere. There was a good operation and a good melon to eat. He would not leave on his own initiative for Meredith's face, and Meredith probably wouldn't want to face her Mr. Dream alone in this posture. What? She broke up with Mr. Dream last night? She is free to do whatever she wants, and no one can blame her. Don't be ridiculous. If they broke up out of hatred, it is still possible, but they broke up peacefully. The opposite of everything is bound to end early. If everything is not done, the fate will not end early. There are many people who can rekindle their love at any time after a peaceful breakup. Meredith and Dr. Shept are obviously still thinking about each other. This is the most embarrassing source now. Meredith. Stephen, who was the only one who raised the flag, didn't understand the situation. Seeing that Meredith didn't speak, he had to repeat it again. "When will we?" At this point, he was still considerate and didn't say the whole thing. He just tilted his head and gave a look of "you know." "Yes, Meredith." Dr. Shept also recovered from the shock and looked at Meredith with a fake smile. "When did you two?" At this point, he couldn't continue. After all, she was his ex-girlfriend. Or did they officially break up last night? His ex-girlfriend who he loved deeply. "Well, you just said goodbye to me, and in the blink of an eye, you broke up with a man. Should I thank you for your constant kindness?" Dr. Duncan. Mr. Warden's court scan. At this time, a nurse came with Stephen's court scan, breaking the awkward atmosphere. "Dr. Shept, the court scan shows that there is a tumor at the lower end of the spine, which compresses the concave nerve that causes the dustpan." Adam took the court scan, took a look, and immediately gave his own conclusion. "Tumor?" Stephen didn't understand the atmosphere at the moment, and said blankly, "Should I be scared now?" "Yes, I should be scared now." At this point, he shook Meredith's hand. Dr. Shep's eyelids twitched, and he forced himself not to look at such a dazzling scene. He took the court film handed by Adam and shook it heavily. Crunch, crunch. The court film widened Dr. Shep's hand. Dr. Shept looked up at the light and said expressionlessly, "Yes, it is indeed a tumor, but it can be removed by surgery. There will be no big problem." "Yes." Meredith wanted to withdraw her hand awkwardly. "Dr. Shept will arrange surgery for you. As long as it is removed, there will be no problem." "Yes, as long as it is completely removed, everything will return to normal." Dr. Shept looked at Meredith, imitated Meredith's actions last night, and looked at her deeply for a few times, with a full sense of ritual. "Adam, can you take over?" Meredith's heart ached, and she turned to look at Adam. Yesterday, she took the initiative to break up. In fact, she was full of self-touching for her romantic sentiment of taking the initiative to cut off her arm. In fact, there was not much sadness and sorrow. But today, facing her dreamy husband who took the initiative to do this to her, she could hardly control the bitterness and pain in her heart. "Of course." Adam nodded. He risked the risk of being affected by the fire in the city gate, just to take over this operation. "Stephen, Dr. Shept and Dr. Duncan will accompany you. I have something else to do." Meredith forced a smile to Stephen and turned to leave. "Normal is the normal in normal?" Stephen was a little panicked. "Yes." Adam smiled. "There will be a urologist to talk to you later, but it is indeed normal." "Huh, that's good." Stephen breathed a sigh of relief, then looked out the door in confusion. "What's wrong with Meredith?" "She has something else to do." Adam covered up. "Oh," Stephen said disappointedly. "Originally, I was going to let her call my mother." "How long have you been dating?" Dr. Shep's face changed. He felt that the green was turning from a wisp of green in the desert into a green grassland. "We met at Joe's last night," Stephen said with a smile on his face. Adam was familiar with this smile. It was exactly the smile Leonard had when he heard his teacher ask, "Why do you think I can marry a billionaire?" and gave a direct answer, "Yes, I am that awesome." To be more precise, it was Leonard's smile in the first few rounds of the battle when he sacrificed himself for the greater good. The rest of the rounds were all Dr. Shep's current expression. Joe's bar. Dr. Shep forced a smile and said, I met a girl there before, but that was a long time ago. Duncan, you come and do a preoperative examination for Mr. Warden. Yes, Dr. Shep. Adam nodded calmly. Any smile at this time would be inappropriate and easy to cause trouble. After Dr. Shep left, why do you feel that everyone is weird? Stephen realized it belatedly. Doctors, that's how it is. Adam smiled. Operating room. Duncan, do you want to be the surgeon for this operation? Dr. Shep suddenly said while cleaning and disinfecting. I do. Adam was stunned for a moment and answered immediately. Do you have confidence? Dr. Shep asked again. Yes, Adam said confidently. Okay, you will be the lead surgeon this time. Dr. Shep asked a few more questions about the operation. Seeing Adam answering fluently, he secretly sighed that Adam's reputation as a chief physician was indeed not exaggerated, and nodded. Thank you. Adam hurriedly thanked him. This is what you have earned with your own strength. As I said, you can give priority to neurosurgery. Dr. Shep smiled and walked into the operating room. Haha, I will. Adam agreed with a smile. After thinking about it for a while, he understood why Dr. Shep was so generous this time. Stephen, who was going to have surgery later, was Dr. Shep's rival in love. The operation still had to avoid damaging the nearby nerves responsible for the spinal cord to remove the tumor on the spine. As long as Dr. Shep made a slight mistake, Stephen would be able to live a pure life in the future. In this case, even if Dr. Shep was proud of his professionalism, he was not without a little psychological burden. What if during the operation, he suddenly thought that the trouble in front of him was all caused by him, and his emotions fluctuated for a while, and he made a slight mistake? Although it would be pleasant, the result was not what he was willing to bear. If it was another intern, he would have to do it himself. But he knew Adam's strength. Rather than being unable to suppress the emotional fluctuations that might occur, it would be better to do a favor to Adam and let Adam perform the operation directly. P.S. Thanks to Dar_ for the reward. Chapter 488 Rock Queen Noon. Cafeteria. Adam, this is worth a rare surgery. Christina came over and started to talk nonsense. You wish. Adam sneered. I did the enema and acupuncture. This surgery should have been mine, Christina insisted. But you gave up. Adam laughed while eating. So don't think about it. Even if it can't be worth the rare surgery, it can offset the favor, right? Christina exposed her true purpose. No. Adam still shook his head. I risked Dr. Shep's disgust to fight for this. You ran away directly. The look in your eyes didn't mean that you wanted to give the surgery to me. You little brat. You still want to play negotiation tactics with him. No matter how crazy you are, I will remain unmoved. You are not me. How do you know what my eyes mean? Christina said affirmatively. My eyes mean that. Haha. Adam smiled without saying anything, just gave a look that said no one can owe me a debt. Christina was immediately discouraged. She just wanted to bargain, but Adam didn't give her a chance. She couldn't afford to lose face if she was forced to act helpless. Of course, the most important thing was that she couldn't afford to offend Adam. She almost died after offending a nurse. What if she offended Adam? Then she had no doubt that no matter what Adam said or did, once the nurse knew about it, she would be even more cruel than before. It would probably be a gang crime. It was chilling to think about it. Women understand women better. It seems that I can only repay that rare operation and a favor slowly in the future. Adam. Meredith came over, hesitant to speak. Don't worry, the operation was successful. Adam directly said the answer she wanted to know. Meredith nodded, stopped talking, and began to fall into autism. How could she hide the matter when it became like this? It had already spread throughout the hospital. Many men looked at her with nervous and excited. You read that right, excited. George and Liz also came over with plates. Liz's face was full of the kind of weird smile that a true best friend would have. George's face was dark. His goddess Meredith had spread such gossip again. This made him feel heartbroken. And thinking of the brief intimate contact between him and Meredith, he didn't feel such wildness at all. And Meredith cried the whole time. George's heart hurt even more. What? Meredith couldn't stand Liz's unbridled weird smile and autistic face. Nothing. Liz just shook her head. Meredith could only roll her eyes. Hee. Fat Stu also came over with a rare laugh. Why are you here? Christina and Liz shouted in disgust. George is their best friend. Both of them are fat, but Stu is the most disgusting fat guy. No other reason. It's just that Stu is too wretched. They all know why he wants to go to plastic surgery in the future. If it gets out, the reputation of plastic surgery will probably be completely stinky. Don't be like that, Fat Stu humbly flattered. We are all colleagues. Tilda. Christina and Liz lost their temper immediately. The fat guy was so humble, and what they said was really too much. Adam shook his head secretly. The humblest person is invincible. Hey, Meredith. Fat Stu saw that Christina and Liz began to ignore him, smiled triumphantly, and cast his eyes on the person he was really interested in. Adam, Christina, and Liz looked at each other, leaned back, and entered the show mode. George was angry. Just talk. Don't use such a disgusting tone. What? Meredith said unhappily. Even an old driver like her couldn't stand the obscene energy of Fat Stu. Nothing. Fat Stu laughed. I just came to say hello to you. Are you free tonight? Joe's bar. I'll buy you a drink. As soon as these words came out, everyone was dumbfounded. Everyone knew that Fat Stu was shameless and vulgar, but at this moment, they all thought that they had underestimated this fat guy. You know, Stephen, who had just finished surgery, also drank with Meredith at Joe's bar last night. When Meredith spread such explosive gossip, Fat Stu made this invitation, which was simply saying to Meredith, don't think I'm a delicate flower and pity me. This horse fork and insect energy, it's simply unparalleled. Meredith was ashamed and angry, and stood up in a flash. She wanted to get angry, but when she met Fat Stu's honest fat face, and saw the eyes around her looking at her, she picked up the plate she had eaten a few bites of and walked away. Shameless. Disgusting. Christina and Liz also felt a little nauseous, and they just picked up the plate and walked away. George clenched his fists, as if he wanted to hit someone, but in the end he didn't hit him, and also picked up the plate and walked away. What? Fat Stu looked a little aggrieved. Okay, you've disgusted everyone and you've done enough, Adam complained. They were in the same group and had a closer relationship, and Fat Stu's wretchedness was also quite funny. Besides, Fat Stu was also very discerning and didn't just pick on anyone. Therefore, Adam and he had a good relationship. Hee. Fat Stu immediately put away his aggrieved look, lowered his voice, and laughed. Adam, do you know that Meredith has a nickname now? What nickname? Adam's heart moved. This nickname must not be a good nickname. But he was really interested. Now many male colleagues privately call Meredith. Fat Stu winked and talked a lot. Adam heard a beep. However, from Fat Stu's mouth shape and expression, his complicated English summary can be translated into the Rock Queen shaking her heart. Adam's mouth twitched. These 7 short words, if you savor them carefully, are really meaningful. Now many male compatriots are nervous and excited. The words in Stu's mouth finally recovered from the beeping. In that case, how dare you date the Rock Queen Meredith? Adam teased. Aren't you afraid? I'm not afraid. Stu proudly raised his head and chest. I have a low center of gravity. What am I afraid of? Adam's mouth twitched and he was speechless. This time, even he was shocked by Stu's wretched and coquettishness. Faced with Stu, who was so frank about his shortcomings, Hong Shixian came and could only admit defeat and send what he said to Ellie to Stu. Stu, what's wrong? You should be more restrained in the future. Adam couldn't help but remind him, you can only live in a 2-dimensional world like this. In the real world, if you keep being so coquettish, you will be beaten to death sooner or later. Chapter 489 Eye-Opening Sea King, Medical Center, Cafeteria. Fat Stu's sassy fighting spirit. Adam also felt a little nauseous, so he simply put down his knife and fork and walked away with his plate. Dr. Duncan. Just as he walked out of the restaurant, he ran into John Carter, a medical intern, walking towards him with a lunchbox. Carter. Adam kept his pace and nodded to him. For ordinary workers, taking advantage of the situation and taking paid shits are the most profitable. Therefore, the longer the lunch break, the better. But for people like Adam who earn their lifespan, The shorter the lunch break, the better. Now his strength is enough to stand on his own, although he cannot go all out due to his identity restrictions. But in the emergency room, he encounters a life-saving situation every 2 or 3 days, which basically allows him to achieve a balance between life consumption and growth. In other words, if he keeps doing this, he can keep going forever, until forever, or when humans no longer need doctors and use the black technology of the universal medical machine in the Elysium space. But by that time, he will be dead and will not need to treat diseases and save people. John Carter was stunned for a moment, then quickly turned around and followed. The second lesson is to adjust yourself according to the needs of the senior doctors. Adam smiled at Carter, who was walking quickly. Senior doctors are usually very busy. Many times you need to report the situation quickly and accurately while the senior doctors are on their way to the operating room, just like now. Yes, Dr. Duncan. Carter nodded repeatedly. What's the matter? Adam reminded. Oh, Carter quickly took the lunch box and smiled. This is my braised pig's trotter. Dr. Duncan, try it and give me your evaluation. Adam couldn't help but pause. It was already the emergency room. The most knowledgeable nurse at the nurse station saw Carter standing there with the lunch box and didn't make any follow-up moves. She slapped her forehead, came over to open the lunchbox, and took a clean glove. Dr. Duncan, thank you, Violet. Adam skillfully opened his hands and let the most knowledgeable nurse put them on for him. Then he picked up a braised pig's trotter, looked at it first, and tasted it in Carter's expectant eyes. How is it? Too sweet. Adam shook his head, put down the pig's trotter, patted Carter's shoulder. But it's thoughtful. Then he left. Too sweet? Carter frowned. Not sweet. Well, the cooking is okay. The most understanding nurse had already picked up the braised pig's trotter that Adam had taken a bite of and started eating it. She commented, everyone's taste is different. Dr. Duncan's taste is more oriental, and our Western food is sweeter. We are used to it, so we don't feel it. Westerners like to eat sweets. Speaking of what everyone likes, it's candy. All kinds of donuts are too sweet for people who are not used to it. Oriental flavor? Carter was a little confused. But isn't Dr. Duncan an American? Americans also like Oriental flavors. The most knowledgeable nurse gnawed on the braised pig's trotters happily and reminded, anyway, I noticed that Dr. Duncan asked his assistant to send him delicious food several times, and they were all authentic Oriental dishes. If you want to satisfy Dr. Duncan, it's best to find an authentic Oriental chef to learn from you. Then Dr. Duncan will definitely look at you differently. So troublesome. Carter smiled bitterly. Oh, the most understanding nurse sneered. Is this considered troublesome? You don't know how many people want to trouble but don't have the chance. When Dr. Duncan becomes a resident next year, medical students like you won't have the chance to get close to him. I'm only giving you some pointers because I think you're okay. Do you want to gain without paying? If you have this idea, stay away from Dr. Duncan. I'm not, Carter said quickly. When I rest, I'll find an authentic Oriental chef to learn from me. This braised pig's trotter? The most understanding nurse finished eating one and set her sights on the remaining one in the lunchbox. If you like it, I'll give it to you. Carter finally showed some interest at this time. Yeah. The most understanding nurse took it with satisfaction and glanced at Carter. Since you're so sincere, I'll help you again. She hooked her finger and motioned Carter to follow her. She came to the nurse's station, took out a card from the drawer, and handed it to Carter. This is the information of the chef of the restaurant that Dr. Duncan likes to eat at the most. If you have the ability, you can learn from him directly, which can save a lot of trouble. Thank you. Carter thanked sincerely. This really saved him a lot of trouble. If it were an ordinary person, he would not dare to think about it. An amateur, looking for a top chef to learn skills? What a dream. But fortunately, Carter's family conditions are not bad. Although not as rich as ordinary people, they are also middle-class families that do not lower the average line. Everyone knows that as long as you don't lower the average line, you will live better than 70% of the people. As time goes on, as wealth gathers more and more in the hands of the smallest number of people, if you don't lower the average line, you will probably live better than 90% of the people. Being averaged will be a disgusting thing. The days passed very quickly in the hospital. In a blink of an eye, a few weeks passed. The biggest thing in these weeks was that Peggy finally gave birth to Adam's first child, the Duncan Adler formula. Adam published a paper based on this, which caused heated discussions in the medical community. Combined with the inadvertent widespread circulation of the legendary Alice Gray's open-class videotape in the medical community, the reputation of the genius Dr. Adam Duncan has been recognized by more people in the industry. Delighted, Adam was really grateful to Peggy. The time has come to the traditional American holiday Halloween on November 1st. Adam went to work as usual. Originally, he planned to stop cooking after get off work in the evening and go to New Jersey early to spend Halloween with Peggy. But Peggy didn't care about this. Adam simply stayed in the hospital to work overtime. This night, there were so many troublemakers, and there would always be unlucky ones. The medical center is still very busy. Late at night, back to the apartment, studying math as usual. Only after accumulation can the magic power be revealed. There was a knock on the door. Adam looked out from the surveillance and couldn't help laughing. But a tall and slender figure in a black hooded robe was seen standing outside the door. As if sensing that Adam was looking at her, she looked up in the direction of the camera, revealing a human face wearing a brass-carved half-human face mask. This is clearly the costume, eyes wide shut. Who else could it be but Alice Kidman? Adam opened the door and let her in. She came in without saying a word, took off the brass-carved half-human face mask, untied the black hooded robe, revealing a tight white fish scale uniform, a silver crown on her head. Her long hair was wet, and her face was cold. She was in her 20s, and this outfit was really stunning. I like Halloween. This was Adam's last thought. Peas. There is only one chapter at noon, and the other one chapter is not finished. I will post it in the evening. Please forgive me. Chapter 490 Marvel DC Battle. Late at night. Apartment. Who are you? Atlanta, Queen of Atlantis. Atlantis? Adam, with a serious face, represented the land humans and held a first meeting with the ancient Atlantis civilization from the depths of the ocean. The wheel of history slowly turns. This is a small step for Adam, but a big step for mankind. Okay, this is a daily article, not a super powerful magic article. Fake, all fake. This is just the voiceover in Adam's mind. In fact, Alice came here for no other reason, just to discuss a surgical case during the day. Well, the power of role models is infinite. Since Adam is so powerful, he still shows an attitude of learning with all his strength, unconsciously driving the attitude of research of doctors in the entire medical center. Alice is a typical example. In the past, she just wanted to be an ophthalmologist, make a lot of money and live an upper-class life. But now, her goal has been slightly revised. It is still to make a lot of money and live an upper-class life. However, in terms of medical technology, she wants to pursue better, not just to get by. This is all Adam's credit. In-depth discussion is in progress. The doorbell rang again. Adam and the Queen of Atlantis came to the surveillance screen and took a look. The Queen suddenly became cold and frosty. Adam smiled awkwardly, but outside the door stood a heroic female agent in a tight uniform. She seemed to sense Adam's gaze and took out a certificate from somewhere and pointed it at the camera. On it was the abbreviation and icon of S.H.I.E.L.D. Damn, S.H.I.E.L.D. is so powerful. Adam secretly complained in his heart. The Queen of Atlantis just came ashore and immediately sent someone over. And it's the deputy director of S.H.I.E.L.D. But can your Marvel official next door manage the superpowers of DC? But thinking of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s bully style, if they had the ability, they would really manage it. Adam had a headache at this time. In normal times, they would contact by phone first and come only after an appointment, so there would be no problem of collision. But tonight is Halloween, which is the time when demons and ghosts are making trouble. No one contacted Adam in advance. Alas, I should not have given them these custom-made clothes. They suddenly attacked and caught Adam off guard. The night was about to enter winter, and it was inexplicably hot. Adam's eyes went dark and he knew nothing. The next day, medical center. Alice, what happened to your face? Stephen Murphy came over early in the morning and saw Alice, and was shocked. Nothing. Alice touched the band-aid on her forehead and frowned. I met a drunk crazy woman last night, pretending to be the deputy director of S.H.I.E.L.D., arresting people everywhere, and she pushed me and bumped into me. Deputy Director of SHIELD. Stephen Murphy was stunned. Are you talking about Maria Hill? You actually know? Alice looked over in surprise. Last night she did hear some bastard call the other party Agent Hill. Of course, this is definitely not the other party's real name, because some bastard also called her Queen Atlanta of Atlantis. That bitch must also be playing a role. Who would have time to read comics for a beauty like her? How could she possibly know comic characters? This is a character from Marvel Comics. Stephen Murphy laughed dumbly. Usually only geeks would read it, or play it on Halloween. I didn't expect that there would be a woman cosplaying Agent Hill. It seems that she is a loyal fan of Marvel Comics. Although he is a super rich second generation, he has also read various comics and knows that many geeks cosplay various comic characters. In this era when geek girls are rare, it is usually geeks who cosplay classic female characters in comics. Some are quite addicted. Cosplaying Catwoman can even hold her head high and shout, "I feel full of power." Hey, Alice sneered. That's possible. Most likely some bastard likes the Agent Hill character in Marvel Comics, and then spent money to customize the costume for some bitch. Normal women don't dress like that. When she thought of this, she got angry. In such an embarrassing situation, a shameless bastard not only did not directly let the bitch go back, but let her in. Then he looked at her in various ways, looking extremely apologetic. But she had been hanging around in casinos since she was a child. What had she not seen? The bastard's expression only meant one thing: asking her to make concessions on her own initiative. Making concessions on her own initiative has rich connotations, and it is definitely not just about asking her to leave on her own initiative. Naturally, she couldn't stand this. It was one thing for her to have spare wings, but it was another thing for someone to break one of the wings. Fortunately, the bitch was also a bit of a backbone, and didn't think about it at all. When she saw this situation, she immediately got angry and wanted to leave. Later, for some reason, the bitch quarreled with her and even started fighting. Damn it, the fight between this bitch was different from the fights between women. It was completely a big fight, and she was quite strong. She didn't pay attention and got hit. She was pushed and fell, and her forehead hit the edge of the bed. Naturally, she was not easy to bully. She got up and hugged the bitch, making full use of the skills she had learned from fighting with girls in the past, and fought in various ways, pulling hair, punching the stomach, tearing clothes. There were some other tricks that she was too embarrassed to think about, but they were indeed very effective. The bastard would just stand aside, waving his hands weirdly, and shouting in a weird tone and a pompous tone, "Hey, stop fighting so sissy." It felt like he was mocking them. She was so angry and offended that she finally went up to beat him up with the bitch. It's a pity that the nickname of the bastard who can do miracles with great strength is not exaggerated. Instead, they were suppressed by him with one hand and one backhand. In the end, it was a mess. She only knew that the bitch said hatefully in the end, "I didn't bring a gun today, otherwise, blah blah." She didn't listen at all, and her mind was a little empty. Because those cruel words had no deterrent effect at all, because they had been brewing for too long and in the environment, but instead seemed a bit of flirting. In response, she just rolled her eyes weakly. The bitch kicked the torn uniform aside, skillfully found a set of clothes from the bastard's closet, put them on, and slammed the door. Then she heard the bastard laughing triumphantly. If Howard knew this, he would be so jealous. Bah, this Howard must be an LS, who likes to watch women fight. You're right. Stephen Murphy naturally would not refute the goddess' words, and asked with concern, "Does it still hurt? Do you want me to help you vent your anger?" "No." Alice's eyes flashed, and she shook her head and said, "She didn't ask for it either. I also hit her hard a few times. Believe me, she is much more painful than me. It's uncertain whether she can go to work today." Hee. Stephen Murphy looked a little surprised. It was the first time he saw that his goddess had such a side, and he suddenly felt that she was particularly lively and cute. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but smile happily. Peas. There is another chapter later. Chapter 491, Juno Beno Medical Center. Dressing room. "What did you do last night to make you so happy?" Christina squinted her eyes and looked at Adam. "I'm always smiling." Adam smiled and said, "Besides, it's a holiday, so I'm naturally happier than ordinary days." double the happiness. That's a problem. Christina didn't believe Adam's nonsense at all, but she didn't care. She quickly changed the subject and said mysteriously, "Hey, have you heard? Dr. Montgomery has officially joined the company, and the chief of surgery has given her a large budget, the best private service, the most advanced neonatal intensive care unit, and the salary is the highest among all surgeons in New York. It's a big deal." "She's worth the price," Liz continued. "She is indeed one of the best in this field. With her joining the medical center, the pediatric department will have a chance to compete for the first place in the future. You are lucky to be chosen by her." Christina teased, "You will definitely have a better future than the rest of us in the future." "Hey," Liz sneered, "how about we change?" "I'm sure that as long as you are willing, Dr. Montgomery will definitely be more willing to take you with him." "That's not necessarily true." Adam smiled and said, "Not everyone can be a pediatrician, at least Christina certainly can't." "I absolutely can't." Christina waved her hands repeatedly. "I'm annoyed by adults, let alone children who cry and make noises all day long, let alone being competent. I can't stand the thought of it." "Just this reason?" Liz pouted and said, "The most important thing is that you look down on pediatricians." Christina smiled but said nothing. Adam smiled knowingly. "Pediatricians have always been at the bottom of the doctor's contempt chain. Don't look at Dr. Montgomery, who has received all kinds of top treatment and the highest salary for surgeons. But this is already the pinnacle of pediatricians. It is the kind of person who can raise the average, so that pediatricians are not always the last, and occasionally the second to last. In this regard, Christina really looks down on this profession. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I know you will definitely regret it today." Liz suddenly smiled. "Why?" Christina looked over immediately. "Does Dr. Montgomery have a good case?" When she said this, Adam's eyes lit up. "I have been interning at the medical center for several months. I have seen many surgeries and performed many surgeries as the main surgeon. But there are still very few children as patients. Adam feels that it is necessary to practice more with those little hands, feet and hearts." Liz proudly stretched out her palm and gestured. "Have you seen quintuplets?" "Are you kidding?" Christina was shocked. "Quintuplets?" Adam was stunned. He remembered that Phoebe was going to be a surrogate mother for her brother and sister-in-law. If Adam hadn't stopped her, in order to ensure the success rate of surrogacy, 5 embryos will be implanted at a time. Once they are successfully implanted, wouldn't it be an exaggerated quintuplets? This risk is too big. Adam couldn't help but say, "Who said it wasn't?" Liz shook her head. "But I heard that she had given birth to triplets before, all boys, and she wanted a daughter very much, so she tried to get pregnant again. This time she was indeed pregnant with a daughter, but who knew that she came with 5? I think her husband's face must have turned pale when he heard the news." Adam sighed. "How can it not be white?" Christina complained. "Unless you are a rich man, who can't afford enough nannies, who can raise 8 children properly. Maybe this mother can write a novel by then." Adam remembered the joke in his previous life and laughed. 3 babies in the first pregnancy, 5 babies in the second pregnancy. The best mother. "What the hell?" Liz said speechlessly. "Will anyone read this kind of thing?" "Who knows?" Adam shrugged. "I'm going to make rounds." Liz closed the locker and walked out. "Dr. Montgomery will also come early. The director of the pediatric department of the medical center will officially fire the first shot today." "I love this kind of high-profile case," Christina wailed. "The director probably has already found reporters to prepare to report this sensational quintuplets." "It shouldn't be that urgent," Adam reminded. "Don't forget that these are quintuplets. The pregnancy risk is extremely high. If you find reporters now, if you are not careful, your butt will be exposed before your face." As expected, this case is indeed very sensational. As soon as the rounds were over, gossip was everywhere in the hospital. "Liz, what's wrong?" Adam ran into Liz in the corridor and asked curiously when he saw that she looked a little strange. "The pregnant woman with quintuplets, Mrs. Rozabin." Liz frowned and said, "I just did an ultrasound on her. The data can only be said to be barely acceptable. What she should do now is not to name them all, but to consider giving up 2 of them. That way, the remaining 3 will stay in her belly longer, develop better, and be healthier." "How long has she been pregnant?" Adam asked. "Only 32 weeks." Liz shook her head and said,
She had to come to the hospital. The normal pregnancy cycle is generally 40 weeks. Twins, 36 weeks. For quintuplets, 34 weeks is already a very ideal cycle. The shorter the pregnancy cycle, the shorter the time the fetus grows and develops in the mother's body, and the less ideal the health of the body. The various hazards of premature babies are obvious. Mothers naturally want their children to grow and develop more, but multiple babies are not something you can just let them stay in their mother's belly longer. 5 fetuses grow up together. The pressure on the mother is unimaginable. People have physiological limits. Your attitude is not good, Adam reminded. No matter what, it is the patient's own choice. As a doctor, you can't put your emotions into it. Besides, it's already 32 weeks, and the baby will be born in 2 weeks. Do you expect the mother to give up 2 of her own children now? This is not like your style. Liz opened her mouth, her face darkened, and she turned and walked away. What a sin. Adam looked at Liz's back, thinking. Judging from this situation, the young Liz had a story, most of which was related to children. Isn't this Juno Beno? Thinking of this, Adam couldn't help laughing. In the original storyline, Juno got pregnant and gave birth to a child in high school, and then it made a sensation. With Adam, a big butterfly flapping its wings wildly. The timeline has long been unrecognizable. Not only did Juno not take the initiative to attack the shy sports boy, but she directly took Karen's hand and strode forward. Liz's current posture is quite similar to the situation in the original timeline when Juno gave birth in high school. Otherwise, she, a double-standard saint, would not say that giving up 2 children is the right choice in this situation. Only when she was pregnant and gave up because she was too young, would she subconsciously insist on the idea that giving up the children was the right choice. Otherwise, wouldn't she have done something wrong? She would go crazy. Chapter 492 Vase Adam Medical Center. In the corridor, Dr. Duncan. Adam muttered to himself as he watched Liz leave. A voice sounded beside him. Dr. Shept. Adam smiled and looked at Dr. Shept, the second doctor who officially joined the hospital, although it would be more appropriate to call her Dr. Montgomery. But Dr. Montgomery, who had just defeated the Mistress Meredith and won back her husband, obviously preferred others to call her Dr. Shept. Even every time she appeared with her husband, she had to explain it to those who were surprised by the truth. But she was willing to do it. She loved it when others suddenly realized and called them a golden couple. Adam was an old man, so he naturally couldn't make the same low-level mistake as Liz. Because of her relationship with Meredith's roommate and friend, Liz dared to turn her face to a famous attending doctor. If Dr. Montgomery hadn't been so generous, if it had been the abbot, Liz would have been forced to leave with her emotional and impulsive immature mentality. Of course, Adam also saw some mysteries hidden under the generosity. It is hard to say that there is no drama in which Dr. Montgomery deliberately creates a positive image, uses his power as bait, draws over his rival Meredith's friends, isolates his rival, and makes his rival collapse on his own. Otherwise, with so many interns in the hospital, is it only Liz who gave her the cold shoulder who has a strong talent for pediatrics? In this regard, Jin Zhang in Wulan Weizhuan directly called her an expert. What's more amazing is that in Wulan Weizhuan, facing the collective rebellion of her friends, Tong Xiangyu was tit for tat at first, but finally chose to compromise. If you can't beat them, join them. Meredith was completely conquered by the image and temperament of her boyfriend's wife at the beginning. In terms of image, when Dr. Montgomery came, Meredith immediately went to buy a new lipstick, and from time to time she would apply lipstick in front of the mirror and get her hair done, not wanting to be crushed into slag by her rival, who was a TV star. In terms of temperament, during the operation led by Dr. Montgomery, Meredith was stunned. After the operation, she cried sadly to her boyfriend, Dr. Shept, "She is too professional. She is a very good doctor, you shouldn't compare me with her." After a few combined punches, Meredith lost all her fighting spirit. But the turning point came. When Dr. Shept really wanted to choose a wife, Meredith's fighting spirit came back, and she was really willing to lose face and ask her scumbag boyfriend to choose her and love her. Then she hinted to every friend to curse Dr. Montgomery before talking to her. Among the crowd, Christina, George,
and Liz all cursed Dr. Montgomery severely. But in fact, they no longer disliked Dr. Montgomery in their hearts at that time. Only Adam ignored her self-talk. If you have the ability, learn from Dr. Montgomery's inducement, then he will consider it. The completely different responses reflect the completely different temperaments of Tong Xiangyu and Meredith. If Tong Xiangyu descended upon the medical center, Adam would definitely skip the ordinary friendship with Meredith and the friendship with Christina and directly treat her as a good friend like Chandler and Monica. This has nothing to do with Tong Xiangyu being the 9th generation master of a Kiju palace in Dian Kang Mountain and a master of hypnosis. Where there are people, there are rivers and lakes. You should not have the intention to harm others, but you must be on guard against others. Adam's attitude towards Dr. Montgomery was consistent, and he did not give her the opportunity to transform into Jin Xiang or the abbot. Have you heard? Dr. Montgomery looked at Adam with a smile. Are they Mrs. Ruzewin's quintuplets? Adam smiled and said, Congratulations, Dr. Shept. This is a classic case that made a sensation. Thank you. Dr. Montgomery smiled and said, You also know that this case will require a lot of manpower. Is Dr. Duncan interested in joining? Of course. Adam nodded first, then hesitated and said, But Dr. Stevenson? Oh. Dr. Montgomery smiled and said, You are responsible for it together. This case is special, and it deserves more attention. I think there is no intern in the medical center who is more reliable than you. If it weren't for Dr. Duncan, you don't have much interest in pediatrics. You can be responsible for this case alone. You are flattered. Adam smiled modestly. He was more and more convinced that Dr. Montgomery didn't really think so highly of Liz. This is a powerful person. Yes, as soon as she came here, she could help her rival Meredith explain in front of the patients who stood up for her, and frankly said that it was not the rival's fault, but she was the one who cheated first. How could it not be powerful? That sentence, although I'm a prostitute, I may still be your soulmate, is really awesome. Haha. Dr. Montgomery glanced at Adam, and seeing that Adam was calm and composed, and had no intention of taking the bait, she also smiled. But a hint of helplessness flashed in her eyes. That's right, she was trying to lure Adam in. The neonatal department of the medical center has been completely renewed because of her arrival. She does look high-spirited, but she is also under great pressure. So much capital has been invested in it, not for charity, but to enhance her reputation and make a lot of money. Once she fails to achieve her goal, no matter how high-spirited she was before, she will be so humiliated afterwards. For a famous doctor like her, no matter how high her salary is, she will not worry about it, but she can never tolerate the loss of face. Therefore, she needs to go all out. It is necessary to win over a group of capable doctors to cooperate with her, but the capable ones are generally residents, and the residents have already chosen their specialty and followed other attending doctors. She can indeed give orders, but that was when other attending doctors didn't need her. In an emergency, her needs were not the first priority. This was unacceptable for a famous pediatric chief doctor who was under great pressure and needed to make great achievements. Faced with this situation, the normal practice is to choose an intern with intention and talent to train, and when this intern passes the internship period and becomes a resident, it is natural for him to become a resident under her. She chose Liz, and this was the case. But during this period, Adam's name had already been heard by everyone. She suddenly realized that in addition to Liz, she actually had a better choice. Although Adam was an intern, his strength was incredible, and even suspected to be comparable to the attending doctor. Of course, she didn't believe this, but Adam was not inferior to the famous Dr. Bailey, and she agreed. Once she succeeded in winning him over, her neonatal department would immediately increase its strength, which would be much faster and better than slowly training Liz. But she was still rational, and she actually knew that her chips were not enough. As powerful as Adam was, he would either choose cardiothoracic surgery or neurosurgery, and it was impossible for him to choose pediatrics. Therefore, she had never mentioned it before. Now that she encountered such a rare case, she tried it a little, but as expected, she failed. Although it was expected, she was still somewhat unhappy. Mrs. Ruzewin is now somewhat depressed. Dr. Montgomery, who was in a bad mood, changed his tone and said with a smile, Her husband is now busy taking care of the triplets at home. I think Dr. Duncan can definitely play a greater role. Science has proven that handsome male doctors are actually more suitable to be obstetricians and gynecologists, because pregnant women can feel more at ease and comfortable when they see them. Adam's mouth twitched. This is true. But why does it sound so awkward? P.S. There is still only one chapter at noon, and the other chapter has not been coded yet. It will be posted in the evening. Later, it will be adjusted back to 2 chapters at noon as soon as possible. Forgive me, if you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493. Are you going to teach me how to do things? Medical Center. So, Dr. Duncan, is it settled? Dr. Montgomery said with a quip. Feeling better? Okay. Adam, who was called a vase, suppressed his complaints, nodded and said with a smile, the director said that now everyone listens to your call, Dr. Shept, so we are all your people. Dr. Montgomery's smile froze, and she looked at Adam deeply, nodded and left. How could she not hear the implicit counterattack in Adam's words? But what Adam said was also true. Now it was the director of surgery who spoke, and it was such a rare case, so she could mobilize everyone. There will be no such treatment in the future. In fact, when she was communicating with her husband, the director of neurosurgery, and the director of cardiothoracic surgery, Dr. Burke, she had already been ridiculed and complained by the two. One said, of course there is no problem, because I don't have to preside over the work of a neurosurgery department. The other said, that's right, obviously our department has to listen to your arrangements. The core is just one sentence. Are you teaching me how to do things? Not to mention that the Shept couple are equal in status. The emotional rift is very deep. Even Dr. Burke and Christina, who were completely unequal in status but were in the homosexual period, were the same. Not long ago, they finally walked out of the hospital and had a proper date. But according to Christina's later description, the scene was extremely awkward. The two sat there quietly, looking left and right, occasionally making eye contact, and then looking away immediately. It was just like when Adam and his blind date in their previous life. They both disliked each other but had to wait for the meal together to finish the meal. When ordering, Dr. Burke wanted to order lobster for Christina, which would go better with the red wine, but Christina refused directly and ordered a steak for herself. You eat red meat? Dr. Burke was stunned at the time. You don't eat it? Christina replied, knowing that Dr. Burke opposed eating red meat, but still had no intention of accommodating him. If the guest sitting next to him hadn't suddenly fallen ill, the two of them would instantly become doctors, allowing Dr. Burke to see the Dr. Christina he liked again. This relationship would probably end on the spot. From this, we can see how resistant an excellent surgeon is to others trying to teach her how to do things that she doesn't need to learn. Dr. Montgomery was hit in the soft spot by Adam's words. She now lacks an assistant who she can teach. Alas, she looks down on those who have no ability. Those who have ability have tempers. Adam is obviously hopeless. It is better to train Liz, who has some talent and a little temper. VIP ward. Because it is possible to make the medical center's neonatal department famous, the hospital gave Mrs. Ruzabin the best treatment. Why are you here? Liz asked curiously when she saw Adam coming. Dr. Shept asked me to participate as well, Adam explained. Oh, Liz didn't think much about it. She just thought Adam was a backup and smiled as she introduced him to Mrs. Ruzabin, who was lying there. This is Dr. Duncan, the best intern in our medical center. It's obvious that Dr. Shept has put a lot of thought into making your delivery smoother. Hello, Mrs. Ruzabin. Hello, Dr. Duncan. Mrs. Ruzabin looked at Adam and smiled happily. Dr. Shept is really thoughtful. It seems that my choice is correct. Adam carefully checked the data, frowned, and personally performed an ultrasound examination on Mrs. Ruzabin. What's wrong? Mrs. Ruzabin, who had been staring at Adam, suddenly became nervous. What did you find? Liz was surprised. Call Dr. Shept, Adam said to Liz while looking at the ultrasound image. Call both Dr. Shept. We need a consultation here. Oh, and Dr. Burke. Okay. Liz wanted to ask more questions, but after being looked at by Adam, she chose to believe it and went to call people. Is there something wrong with the baby? Mrs. Roosman said in a trembling voice. Yeah, Adam also had a headache. It is very important for pregnant women to have a stable mood, especially when she is pregnant with quintuplets. But he did find a big problem, so he couldn't say it was all right, so he could only try his best to comfort her, but it should be solvable. Don't worry too much. What happened? Mrs. Roosabin no longer had a mood to appreciate Adam's beauty, nor did she have the rationality to deal with it calmly, and asked in fear. The third child in the middle. Adam had no choice but to choose his words carefully. Lucy. Mrs. Roosabin called out the name of the unborn child. Yes, Lucy. Adam said slowly after careful consideration. She has symptoms of cerebral edema, which is a disease in which cerebrospinal fluid accumulates in the brain. Excessive accumulation of cerebrospinal fluid will cause increased pressure in the baby's brain and may cause brain damage. But we discovered it early and can treat it quickly. As long as there are no complications, she will recover completely. He spoke as slowly as possible to buy time for Dr. Shept and others to arrive. No brain damage? Mrs. Roosabin asked. No brain damage. Adam nodded. How to treat it? Mrs. Roosabin breathed a sigh of relief and asked for details. We have to wait until Dr. Shept comes to give a specific treatment plan. Adam was very disciplined. Oh, Mrs. Roosman had seen many doctors and knew some of the rules in the hospital. She nodded and then thought of the key question. Anything else? Why do you want to find this Dr. Burke? Dr. Burke is the director of cardiothoracic surgery in our hospital. Adam had a headache. Fortunately, Dr. Shept and his team had already arrived. What's the situation? Dr. Shept, look. Adam breathed a sigh of relief. He finally didn't have to face the pregnant woman who was about to suffer a major blow alone. He pointed to the ultrasound image and said, the third fetus began to show symptoms of cerebral edema. The left ventricle of the second fetus on the left was not fully developed, and the organs of the second fetus on the right protruded from the body. Ha ha ha. Mrs. Roosman suddenly laughed when she heard this. 3 of my 5 children have problems. Ha ha ha. At this point, she began to laugh wildly. Don't get excited. The 2 Dr. Shepts stared at the blurred images and observed them carefully. Adam could only comfort them. These can all be treated with surgery. After a while, it was only after Adam's repeated reminders that the 2 Dr. Shept noticed the extremely subtle symptoms in the blurry image. In fact, they would have been able to discover these symptoms after a day or 2 of detailed examination. But in this situation, being pointed out by Adam naturally made them feel shocked and incredible. However, they still agreed with Adam's diagnosis and began to comfort the pregnant woman who was going crazy. After a long time, Mrs. Roosabin calmed down and accepted with tears in her eyes that her 3 daughters had problems, but they were all treatable. Adam sighed in his heart, because in her eyes, he saw endless regret. Adam knew that more than one doctor had advised her like Liz before, asking her to give up 2 of them and give the other 3 better room to grow. Even her husband thought so. It was she who insisted that no one should be left behind. In this situation now, she has no excuse to blame anyone except herself. For a mother, this is such torture. Chapter 494. Get out of the way. Someone is going to open a big medical center. After comforting the pregnant woman, Liz was left to take care of her. A group of attending doctors came to the conference room for a consultation. Richard, the chief surgeon who attached great importance to this case, got the news and rushed over. Adam, as one of the attending doctors, also joined this high-level consultation. Duncan, you were the first to discover it. Tell me about it. Richard, the chief surgeon, was the first to affirm Adam's contribution and said with a kind expression, Don't be surprised. The security scanner at the gate of the hospital is being installed. The chief surgeon's heart is full of enthusiasm, just like the days when Adam came in to donate to build a laboratory. After this time, the chief surgeon will naturally turn back into the fair and majestic big boss. TSK. It's so magical. Okay. Adam was not surprised. He put the color ultrasound film in front of him, pointed at the subtle symptoms and said, the fetus in the middle, named Lucy, showed symptoms of cerebral edema. Once the disease worsens, it will cause brain damage. We can implant a shunt to drain the cerebrospinal fluid. The second fetus on the left, named Emily, showed hypoplastic left ventricle syndrome, incomplete development of the left ventricle, and abnormal narrowing of the heart valve connecting the left and right ventricles. We can do the Norwood operation. After birth, the first stage of surgery is performed to reconstruct the ascending aortic arch and the main lung shunt, after 6 to 12 months. The second stage of bidirectional cavopulmonary shunt is performed 6 months after the second stage of surgery. The third stage of modified Fontan surgery is finally performed. The second fetus on the right, named Julie, showed that the organs are growing in an external sac. After birth, we cut off the membrane that wraps the organs, and then make a small incision in the baby's abdomen to put the organs back. That's right, in theory, the sooner these surgeries are done, the better, especially for the brain edema of the middle fetus named Lucy. But considering the remaining 2 fetuses, they need to stay in the mother's womb as much as possible. The choice of time is more difficult. I suggest monitoring Lucy's intracranial pressure at any time, considering the length of the operation, setting a warning line, and once it exceeds, the operation should be performed immediately. Very good. The old face of the chief surgeon Richard smiled like a flower, and immediately gave positive affirmation, and then looked around at the chief doctors of the small departments. You also say something? Add something? Dr. Montgomery, the chief of the neonatal department. Dr. Shept, the chief of the neurosurgery department. Dr. Burke, the chief of the cardiothoracic surgery department. Adam had finished speaking. What else did they say? Damn it, how can an intern know everything? No, they don't believe it. Duncan, do you know Norwood surgery and Fontan surgery? Dr. Burke couldn't help but start to find fault. He knew that Adam had a photographic memory and a natural ability called high-definition graphic memory. Relying on this enviable ability, it is normal to work hard and remember a lot of medical knowledge. But remembering does not mean understanding and applying. If he does not pick on the chief doctors of each department, then what is the point of diagnosis? Let Adam perform all by himself. Doesn't that mean that Adam, a small intern, is equal to the chief doctors of their 3 departments? I have read the information, Adam said modestly. Then you know. Dr. Burke immediately began to ask about some details of the operation, but then he could only smile bitterly. Adam's answers one by one, many details even shocked him and inspired him. Damn it, this kind of operation is very rare, and Dr. Burke himself has never done it. Like Adam, he only read the information and knew how to do it. Then he used his many years of surgical experience to deduce the details of the operation. Who knew? Adam seemed to know more than him. The key is that it is very reasonable. You can tell it is indeed feasible as soon as you hear it, so he can't find a suitable statement to refute it. Have you done it? Dr. Burke finally couldn't control his curiosity and asked helplessly. That's not the case. Adam shook his head. But Dr. Gray did it, and we just happened to have discussed this operation before. So I know some details. Everyone was speechless again. This time, even the chief of surgery, Richard, was silent. The legendary female Dr. Alice Gray was a hurdle that he couldn't get over. They were colleagues who were interns together. At that time, he was talented, romantic and handsome, and was highly sought after. But Alice Gray was more talented than him. This made him unhappy but also impressed by her charm. So, he used his skillful skills to easily capture her heart. Even though she was married at that time, he also had a fiancée, who is now his wife. After years of entanglement, Alice Gray invested all her feelings in him, and even the honest husband who had endured it again and again couldn't stand it, and left and never came back. But when she came to him with her daughter Meredith, who was a few years old, he was unwilling to accept the promise they made under the moonlight to leave each other and reunite. His wife is totally incomparable to Alice Gray. But Alice Gray is a ball of fire, a piece of ice, a sword, and even a ghost or a god, but definitely not a human. But his wife is a person, a living person. Okay, this is pure nonsense. The truth is that he can't accept a stronger Alice Gray, who suppresses him all the time. In his career, he can't stand it anymore. Not to mention life. He never thought about being with Alice Gray. Alice Gray, who was deeply shocked, had to leave New York and go to Boston to start a more legendary life. And he became the chief of surgery at the medical center as he wished, and became a big shot. When her daughter Meredith contacted him and wanted to come here for an internship, he agreed without hesitation. He felt guilty about everything that happened back then. Now that he has achieved success, he naturally wants to make up for it and eliminate his guilt. Then he heard that the legendary her had Alzheimer's disease and forgot everything. At that moment, he was sad, but also a little happy and relieved. The darkness of the past disappeared. From then on, he wanted to be an upright chief surgeon, a kind elder, and a pure good person. But now that Alice Gray's name has come again in this way, he seemed to have returned to the past when he had to look up to legends no matter how talented he was. This made him, a powerful chief surgeon, very uncomfortable. "Do you want to invite Dr. Gray to come for a consultation?" Dr. Burke hesitated. "No." Chief Surgeon Richard immediately objected. "She has Alzheimer's disease now, and theoretically she can no longer participate in the consultation as a doctor." At this point, he was afraid that his attitude would cause others to think too much, so he added, "Since Dr. Duncan has already communicated with Alice, with his ability, he can assist you in the operation." Dr. Burke could only nod. Adam smiled reservedly. The surgeon for this operation was in his hands. Because he was more familiar with the details of the operation than Dr. Burke, he couldn't just stand in the position of an assistant and give Dr. Burke some advice from time to time when assisting in the operation. That would be a mess. He can only be the main surgeon, and Dr. Burke can only assist as the instructor, saying a few irrelevant words from time to time to demonstrate the role of the instructor. This is the only way to maintain authority. Alas, Dr. Burke sighed in his heart. Who would have thought that an intern could force him into such an embarrassing situation? It is too difficult for instructors nowadays. P.S. Thanks to Dezu and Fikai Shuchi for the reward. Chapter 495. The Yingxi Medical Center came to the door. VIP ward. The operation is like this. When the children are born, the operation will be performed immediately. There will be no time for questions and answers then. So if you have any questions, please ask them now. Dr. Montgomery, the director of the neonatal department who presided over this case, introduced the whole operation process. But Mrs. Ruzabin was stunned and did not respond. It was obvious that the bad news had hit her too hard. We all know it. There is no doubt about it. Mr. Ruzabin looked sad and nodded woodenly. Ding-ling-ling. His phone rang again. "Sorry, it's the phone at home. My mother is over 70 years old. She can only take care of my 3-4-year-old boys for a while. Can you take care of Duo for a while?" Mr. Ruzabin picked up the phone and looked at it, and asked with a wry smile. "Of course." Dr. Montgomery nodded quickly. "Mom?" Mr. Ruzabin kissed his wife's forehead, picked up the phone, called, nodded to everyone, and walked out. "Dr. Duncan, Dr. Stevenson, you two will coordinate your time and take care of her throughout the whole process," Dr. Montgomery ordered. "Yes." Adam and Liz nodded. "Wait for everyone to leave. Aren't you on standby?" Liz looked at Adam with a strange look in her eyes. "It's all work. What's the point of being on standby?" Adam said seriously, "Let's coordinate the time. Given Mrs. Ruzabin's current situation, she will give birth tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, so our main care time will be in these few days. In this way, you take the first half of the night and I take the second half of the night. How about that?" "Okay." Liz agreed immediately after hearing it. This is equivalent to Adam taking charge of the night shift, obviously taking care of her. She is willing to do it. In this respect, she doesn't object to having Adam help, but psychologically, she still feels a little awkward. Originally, she was the host and Adam was the guest. Now Adam has clearly become the host, but she can only accept it obediently, which is just like this damn ruthless, shameless and unreasonable life. Adam took the color ultrasound and went to Alice Gray's office. He told her about Mrs. Ruzabin's situation and worked together to study how to make the surgery more effective. After all, the surgery Alice Gray had performed before was not a case of 5 babies in one pregnancy. There were some details that Adam had not thought about when he discussed with her at the time. Analyze the specific situation, the experience, vision, and ideas of the legendary female doctor really gave Adam a lot of inspiration when he encountered new problems. At night, after discussing the case, thinking that he would spend time on the quintuplets in the next few days, Adam took advantage of Liz's shift and went to the emergency room, take some time off, at least to earn a few days of life. Nurse station, violent. Are there any interesting cases? Adam asked the most understanding nurse. Really? The most understanding nurse raised the corner of her mouth, took out a case from the medical record box, and handed it to Adam. Dr. Duncan, this outpatient is particularly interesting. Oh? Adam took it with a smile, took the medical record book and went to the number 7 clinic. Mr. Patrick? I'm Dr. Duncan. Adam pushed open the door and smiled at a white young man inside. Where do you feel uncomfortable? Then he noticed that the other person had a broken finger. Just as he was about to talk to the other person, Mr. Patrick spoke, poking his left leg with the broken finger, and then poking his right leg. Oh, it hurts here. Oh, it hurts here too. He then poked various parts of his body, feeling pain every time he poked. Oh, it hurts everywhere. Finally, he looked at Adam with a silly look and asked seriously, Doctor, am I seriously ill? Am I going to die? Adam's mouth twitched, and he carefully observed Mr. Patrick's expression, and found that the other party was not teasing him, so he immediately guessed. Mr. Patrick, have you taken drugs? No. Mr. Patrick shook his head. I never take drugs. Adam nodded, raised 3 fingers, and shook them in front of the other person. What is this? 3. Mr. Patrick said, yesterday was Halloween. What day was it? Adam asked casually. November 1st. Mr. Patrick thought for a moment and replied, what about the day before yesterday? Adam asked again. October 30th, or October 31st? Mr. Patrick scratched his head. I have always had a question that I can't figure out. Why is the shadow in the mirror upside down instead of upside down? Adam asked with a smile. Mr. Patrick was stunned for a moment, scratching his head, thinking about it, but he couldn't answer. It seems that I am not the only one who can't figure it out. Adam interrupted. Everyone can't figure it out, is that so? Mr. Patrick smiled innocently. But the good news is that I know the cause of your illness. Adam smiled and said, you are not in pain all over your body, but your finger is broken. If you use this finger to poke any part of your body, the pressure will make your finger more painful, and you will have the illusion that your whole body is in pain. So that's how it is. Mr. Patrick suddenly realized. Then doctor, can you cure me? Of course. Adam nodded and helped him treat the external injury. But it was only a temporary solution. If Adam was not mistaken, Mr. Patrick should be a moron. Dr. Duncan, this way. Just after finishing the treatment and walking out of the clinic, he saw the most knowledgeable nurse waving at him. Adam glanced at it, was slightly startled, and then walked over quickly. It turned out to be a tiger head stuck in the face of a child. He climbed onto a stool at home, stuck his head in, and started screaming. The child's father said helplessly, I took him to see The Lion King 9 times, and it seems this is retribution. The tooth is stuck in his neck. Adam checked it and said, we need to pull out the tiger's tooth. Oh, the child's father immediately cried out. This specimen was brought back from the 3 Kingdoms with Teddy Roosevelt by my great-grandfather. It has been in my house for 90 years. It is a precious antique. Your child's neck is bleeding. Adam reminded. I wanted to pull it out before, but I may have made things worse. The child's father blamed himself. Dad, it hurts, the child cried. You do it. The child's father gritted his teeth. In the end, he loved the child more than the precious antique. Dr. Duncan, I'll get a saw, the most understanding little nurse said. No need. Adam shook his head, reached into the tiger's mouth, held the tooth, and with a little force, he removed a tiger tooth stuck in the child's neck from the root and took it out. After a few moves, Adam pulled out all the tiger teeth that were stuck in the child's mouth, and released the child's head from the tiger's mouth. The child's father was stunned and reached out to take the tiger teeth one by one. When Adam was treating the wound on the child's neck, an angry and familiar female voice came over. P.S. Book friends who like this book, please subscribe and reward on Kidian. Otherwise, if you read the book on other software, the author will hardly get any money. In addition, Everyone is welcome to leave comments in the chapter comment on Gideon. Thank you. Chapter 496. Close the door and release the dogs at the medical center. Emergency. When Adam was treating the wound of a child whose neck was stuck by a tiger head, an acquaintance came over angrily. Wait a minute. Adam saw it and immediately understood what was going on, but still gave her a calming look. The other party also noticed the child next to Adam at this time, and her angry face disappeared instantly, and asked with concern, "Oh, what's wrong?" "It was stuck accidentally," Adam explained. After handling this case, he took Lily, who had switched to an angry face again, to the outside of the hospital building under the eyes of the nurse who understood the gossip the most. "Lily, why do you come to the hospital?" Adam said with a stern face. "Don't you know I'm working? How bad is this?" "I'm sorry." Lily is a kindergarten teacher and has a special feeling for children. Just now, she saw Adam treating the child's injury and felt a little guilty. This is just this time, and it won't happen again. Adam smiled secretly in his heart, but his face was still stern. He knew Lily's intention, so he had to turn the tables and suppress Lily's arrogance. However, Lily was not an ordinary person. As a chicken soup expert, she was more sensitive to this aspect. She immediately switched to an angry face, imitated Bruce Lee's posture, and pointed her finger at Adam. "Don't change the subject. What did you do to Robin?" "Ahem." Adam coughed lightly, with an innocent face. "What did you say?" He knew that Lily and Robin were best friends, but that was the original time and space. In this time and space, because of Adam's wings flapping wildly, Robin no longer had to entangle with Dead, and almost no group activities with Lily and the others. So the relationship between best friends must have become much more distant. In this case, he seriously suspected that Robin would tell Lily about what happened last night. Before asking clearly, he would not make the stupid thing of confessing without asking. "You know what I'm talking about." Lily gritted her teeth, her fingers trembled because of the force, and she spoke word by word. "What?" Although Adam was raised by fear, he has become a drama queen at this moment, and he has a lot of power, so he still has an innocent face. "Robin's injuries." Lily saw that she could not get a confession from him even after being tortured, so she had to add, "Don't tell me you don't know what happened?" "Oh." Adam nodded gently. "I know, but do you know?" Lily paused. Of course she didn't know, otherwise, she would have shouted it out long ago. She just saw the injuries on Robin's body, and after asking, she knew it was related to Adam, the bastard. But no matter how she asked, Robin refused to tell her the details. This made her completely unacceptable. "You know, these injuries are indescribable." Lily saw that her mind had already made up countless plots, and she was about to ask Robin to verify them for her. But Robin didn't say anything directly. "This is simply a typical example of you took off your pants and you showed me this." Unable to get an answer from Robin, Lily went to find another person involved, Adam, indignantly. Of course, the most important thing was of course not to hear those details, but she wanted to seek justice for her good sister. How could you treat a girl so roughly? She felt heartbroken when she saw those injuries. It really hurts." "It wasn't me." Adam smiled helplessly. "Lily, you know me. Do you really think I can do such a thing?" "It's really not like that." Lily nodded, then asked in confusion, "If it's not you, who else could it be?" "Robin was scolding you." Adam smiled awkwardly. "It's indeed related to me, but it's really not my hand. Anyway, don't ask too much. Robin doesn't want others to know." "Am I someone else?" Lily held her head high, looking like Robin's best friend. Hee. Adam looked at her, smiling but not saying anything. Lily also knew that this was not convincing, so she changed her tone. "Adam, what's going on? Do you know? Robin didn't go to work today." "Is it so serious?" Adam was surprised. "You know, Robin is very ambitious. Because of this leave, it's really unlike her style." "You are a doctor." Lily raised her tone again and rolled her eyes. She was injured like that. She couldn't even wear underwear. How could she go to work? Adam thought about it and felt ashamed. He had definitely thought of this kind of thing, but at that time, his brain was so shocked and confused that he ignored these details. Now he went back in his mind and opened the encrypted folder. From a professional doctor's perspective, this injury. Adam felt more and more ashamed. and at the same time he complained in his heart, Alice is worthy of being a doctor. She is indeed much more vicious than Robin. She didn't go to the doctor? Why? Lily glared at Adam. How embarrassing. She only took some painkillers. Wait a minute. I'll prescribe some ointment for her. You go over and help her apply it, Adam said quickly. What? Lily's eyes widened. It's like this. Why don't you go in person? I have something to do. Adam hesitated. I'm at the hospital. How far can Robin's apartment be from here? Lily interrupted. You can't spare this little time? Are you the only doctor in your hospital? That's not the case. Adam smiled awkwardly. But it's not good for me to go at this time. You know, Robin has 5 big dogs and a lot of guns at home. It's more appropriate for you, your good friend, to go. Don't you want to help? When he said this, his tone and expression became a little strange. Lily immediately understood and couldn't help but put herself into the context of what Adam said. She was a little absent-minded and her eyes began to become devilish. Adam laughed in his heart. He knew that Lily would be the most susceptible to this. In the original time and space, she always had a special liking for Robin and had all kinds of fantasies. Let's take a classic example. When Robin and Ted were in love, the two couples were chatting once, and Ted and Robin wanted to tell them something very seriously. After saying it, Matthew immediately complained about Lily. I told you long ago that they didn't mean that. Lily was embarrassed at that time, because she had chatted with Matthew more than once afterwards, and had made radical remarks about wanting some changes in the relationship between the two couples of their 4 good friends. Matthew just took it as a joke, so he said it casually. Because Lily and Ted? Come on, they are the left hand and the right hand. How is that possible? In fact, he completely misunderstood what Lily meant. There is another possibility for the arrangement of 4 people. Lily actually wants to team up with Robin. Okay. Adam, who has a God's perspective, is very clear. So at this time, he immediately made a fatal blow and made a proposal that Lily could not refuse. At this time, he was indeed reluctant to let him go to Robin. It's not that he was really afraid that Robin would let 5 big dogs bite him, or shoot him directly. But, first of all, he really had something to do. The quintuplets were so dangerous, he had to keep an eye on them. Secondly, if he went there, how could he comfort Robin? If he wanted to have a good consolation effect, it would definitely take a lot of time. But he really didn't have that much time. He didn't want to spend time, and the consolation effect was not good, so it was better not to go. So he simply didn't go and tempted Lily to go. They talked it out between their besties, applied ointment, scolded Adam, and the negative emotions disappeared. This is the best solution. P.S. Thank you for the reward from May the World No Longer Have Sadness and book friend 1611060524078890. Chapter 497. I bet there's no bullet in your gun. Medical Center. Outside the building, facing Adam's tempting proposal, Lily fell into fantasy. Her eyes were devilish, her right eyebrow was raised again and again, and people could tell at a glance that she had a beautiful dream. Adam smiled knowingly. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will win every battle. The advantage is mine. Then, no, no, no. Lily broke free from her fantasy, stepped back and waved her hands repeatedly, shouting. The struggle to resist temptation. Adam, her friend, felt sorry for her. It was just like a friend of Adam in his previous life who became fat as a ball and vowed to lose weight. When faced with his favorite food specially brought by Adam and his friends, he was panicked in his actions, language and expression. I can't do this. Lily held her hands up to resist Adam's approach, to show her resistance to Adam's tempting proposal, and said in a tangled way, I am me, you are you. I can't go for you. At this time, only you are the most appropriate. You are too suspicious. Adam stood there and said softly, what is a man? He is just a tool. Robin needs you as a good girlfriend more. At this time you are a doctor, you can treat Robin better. Lily shook her head. I have diagnosed it. I will give you the ointment. Apply it evenly to her. Adam smiled softly. 3 circles on the left or 3 circles on the right, clockwise or counterclockwise. If you want her to get better faster, you can massage her for a while to promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis. Lily's eyes were demonic again, and her right eyebrow was raised high. Before Adam could show his winning smile again, Lily broke free again. No. Lily shook her head, took a deep breath, and said seriously, whether you did it yourself or not, it was all because of you, and Robin scolded you. If you still consider Robin a friend, you should go by yourself. This is what you, Adam Duncan, should do. Otherwise, what is the difference between you and Barney? At least, Barney never lets a woman get hurt. Adam's mouth twitched. What a damn metaphor. Isn't sadness always more disgusting than physical injury? And how could he, Adam Duncan, be the same kind of person as Barney? Impossible. Okay. Facing Lily, who had transformed into Tong Xiang, Adam said helplessly, can't I go? This is the Adam I know. Lily smiled and said, next time I will help you to confront Barney, so that you will be more confident. Haha. Thank you, Adam complained. Thank you and Matthew. In the morning, he just compared Meredith and Tong Xiang. It turned out that they are not the same kind of people. I never expected it. Just after nightfall, Lily, who really looks like Tong Xiang, popped out. He had to suspect that there was a mysterious hand behind this world pushing them. What are the similarities between Lily and Tong Xiang? The first one, which is also the most similar, is that they are both masters of chicken soup. Lily is an emotional counselor for almost every friend. Once a friend encounters an emotional problem, she will always appear to help her friends resolve it. What Adam appreciates more is that although her values are not as positive as Tong Xiang's, she is already one of the best in the world of American dramas. The second one is that they take their feelings very seriously. Lily and Matthew's relationship once surprised Adam. In such a chaotic and permuted American drama world, there is actually such a pair of sincere feelings that are almost faithful to each other. This is a traitor. Chandler and Monica can't compare. It's pure and sincere, like Adam's parents in this life. Okay, urban sitcoms naturally can't compare to Disney family dramas in purity. In short, Lily is simply the American version of Tong Xiang. Adam had no choice but to swallow the chicken soup from his friend. Where are you going? Lily asked immediately when she saw Adam turning back. I'll tell the nurses station and ask them to notify my colleagues, Adam explained casually. Although Liz was in charge of the first half of the night, but he felt that if he went there, he would probably be late when he took over the second half of the night. It's better to tell Robin in advance. After all, either don't do it, or do it to the best of your ability. This time, he must make Robin accept his apology. Oh, Lily didn't understand, thinking that Adam was still at work, but it was only nightfall, and there were still 5 or 6 hours before dawn, and Adam had already considered going to the 5th floor nurse station. Okay, Dr. Duncan. After Adam finished explaining, the most understanding little nurse showed a little I understand look. Thank you. Adam thanked him, left the hospital, and prepared to drive to Robin's apartment. Hey, what are you doing? Adam looked at Lily, who was following him closely. Go with you, Lily said as a matter of course. She had tried so hard to persuade Robin successfully and got an explanation for her best friend Robin. How could she not be allowed to follow up on the subsequent progress? What if they fought? What if Adam did another poisonous hand? She was really worried if she didn't follow him and observe the whole process. No need. Adam shook his head. It's inconvenient. Why is it inconvenient? Lily's expression was a little strange. What do you think? Adam smiled slightly. You mean? Lily blushed and her eyes began to be devilish again. As a relationship counselor, the highest amateur level, she naturally knows what is the best way to stop the war between men and women. In this way, it is indeed not convenient for her to go, but she wants to go more. Don't think too much. She just thought about it habitually. She had the desire but not the courage. If she really took action, she would definitely run back to Matthew's side as soon as possible. Don't worry, Adam smiled and said, I promise to make her calm down. I believe you. Lily also knew some of Adam's situation. She had already imagined countless scenes of Adam apologizing in her mind. Put yourself in her shoes. She felt that if she were Robin, facing this situation, she would have no choice but to forgive Adam. Do you know where Robin lives? Lily didn't get in the car, and shouted to Adam, who was sitting in the driver's seat. Of course. Adam started the car skillfully, smiled at Lily, and stepped on the accelerator. The car had already rushed far away. leaving only one sentence. "I know that road better than you." Robin's apartment. Ding-ling-ling. Adam rang the doorbell. Woof woof woof. 5. A group of dogs barked fiercely inside. If it were an ordinary person, they would have been scared away long ago. After a while, the door opened. What came into view was that Robin was holding the leashes of 5 big dogs in one hand and pointing a large pistol at Adam in the other. "You bastard, you dare to come. I bet there's no bullet in your gun." Adam smiled calmly. Then he thought the 5 dogs given by Robin's 5 ex-boyfriends were too noisy and took a look at them. Woo woo woo. 5. The arrogant wolf dog didn't dare to roar loudly, as if it had met its natural enemy. It retreated again and again, its legs weak, and it could only whimper. With a click, Adam walked in and closed the door heavily. Woo woo woo. 6. Chapter 498. The dog is feeling wronged. Robin's apartment. "You bastard, you bastard, you bastard." The same sentence. Because of the passage of time, the tone changes again and again. This is the magic of time. "Are you not angry anymore?" Adam smiled and said, "Can you put the gun away, Humphrey?" Robin snorted coldly without commenting, but he still struggled to get up and put the large pistol on the bedside table into the safe. "Are we okay?" Adam smiled. "You wish." Robin put away the pistol and rolled his eyes at him. "Then what do you want?" Adam smiled. "I haven't thought about it yet." Robin shook his head. "How about I give you a gift? I guarantee you will like it." Adam put on sunglasses and a big gold chain, picked up a cigar, and the corners of his mouth naturally rose 60 degrees. "Who do you think I am?" Robin sneered. "If I can't beat you, do you really think I dare not shoot?" This logic is completely flawless. "You think too much." Adam quickly comforted him. "I really didn't mean to do what happened last night. I swear on my conscience that I respect you very much." Robin slapped Adam's swearing hand away and didn't want to talk anymore. "This bastard has too many routines and it's hard to guard against." Seeing this, Adam smiled slightly. The reason why Adam still had enough confidence after the fierce conflict last night was that he promised Lily that he could apologize successfully. That was really not just a casual remark, not to mention Adam's sincerity in his apology. Let's talk about Robin's character. Adam, who has a God's perspective, may know more about it than she does. American TV series routine. Childhood affects a lifetime. A happy childhood heals a lifetime. An unfortunate childhood is a lifetime of healing. Robin Shibsky, in ancient Dango, should be called Lwoshingnan Shibsky. Well, her father actually wanted a son, but he only gave birth to a daughter. Fortunately, as long as you train her carefully from a young age, your daughter can also be very manly. In this regard, the father of baseball player Penny called him an expert. So, Robin, who was raised as a boy since childhood, has a male-oriented personality and hobbies. She is passionate about violent sports such as guns, fighting, and rugby. In fact, these are habits she developed since childhood in order to gain her father's praise. Naturally, a classic problem has also been formed, the super hot daddy complex in Barney's mouth. In Adam's God's perspective, Robin once wore a suit, smoked a cigar, and confided in the past. Her familiarity with cigars was to please her father, who loved cigars and wanted to have more common language with him. But she has been hanging around men for a long time. It almost made her a slut. After all, she and Penny have the same distress. Just practicing casually, her chest muscles are far better than those of her fitness buddies, making them envious and willing to admit defeat. Later, when she became a singer, Robin was shining, and went abroad to the United States. And then she embarked on a completely different path. Deep down, Robin didn't mind what happened last night. What made her even more angry was that she suffered a loss in the fight with Alice. This made her, who was always competitive, unbearable. Then she became angry with Adam. Who caused all this? What does that bitch do? Robin was reminded of her old hatred by Adam's smile. Why are you asking this? Adam laughed. Do you want to fight with her? Of course. Robin sneered. I have never suffered such a big loss since I was a child, not to mention that she is a woman. TSK. That is full of discrimination against his female compatriots. He. Adam smiled but said nothing. Just kidding. It was a coincidence last night. If I tell it now, if it goes to the hospital and makes a big fuss, It will be troublesome. Are you on her side? Although Robin was heroic, she was a woman after all, and she had the innate skill of women to pull people to stand in line. Of course not. Adam shook his head and smiled. You know me. I always stand in the middle. After that, no matter what Robin said, Adam was determined not to give in. Just kidding. How could he, who was so strong, betray Alice? And %3 at. Robin sneered and used his trump card, sending a final ultimatum through the encrypted channel. You recover first, and I'll give it a try when the time comes, Adam said righteously. Ha! Robin sneered contemptuously. Adam seemed not to hear it. By the way, you and Lily have a good relationship? Adam smiled. Yeah, Robin nodded. I don't have many friends here. Although Lily is the one I have known the shortest, she is the most enthusiastic. She makes me feel the friendship I have never felt before. I think this should be the so-called best friend. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing when he heard this. Lil Shannon had only brothers since she was a child and didn't know what a best friend was. She thought Lily's enthusiasm was a best friend's friendship. Okay. Adam is not a woman, and he can't say what a best friend's friendship is, and it seems that he has no right to laugh at her. I remember that there were some soft articles circulating in the circle of friends in my previous life, saying that as long as you have a good best friend, go shopping, eat and chat together, it doesn't matter whether your husband is good or not. This is what I'm talking about. Robin, how are she and Matthew doing lately? Adam asked casually. Robin looked over in surprise. Aren't you the best friend with them? Why do you need to ask me? Adam sighed when he heard it. We are too busy as doctors. Even if we are best friends, we don't have much time to contact each other. We can only take this opportunity to learn more about their dynamics. Robin was stunned by Adam's shamelessness again, and felt deeply offended. What do you think I am, Adam? An all-purpose tool? Don't make trouble. Adam casually caught Robin's powerful kick. If he was Juno who could see through people's hearts, he might be able to hear Robin's complaints directly, and then hit back. Am I not a tool for you? Everyone is a tool for each other. If you are useless and can't even consume 10% of the memory and CPU, I would be bored to develop new functions. Ding-ling-ling. At this time, Adam's phone rang. I'll be right there. Adam answered the phone, said a few words, and began to put on his clothes and walked out. Something's going on at the hospital. Drive slowly on the road. Don't worry. When will you come again? When you're healed, call me, and don't crash again. Adam was responded to by a high-heeled shoe flying at him at high speed. Bang! Adam closed the bedroom door, heard the high-heeled shoe hit the door heavily, and smiled slightly. Living room. The 5 big dogs given by Robin's 5 ex-boyfriends huddled on the sofa in grievance, and when they saw Adam looking over, they lowered their heads even lower. They were almost suffocating. Usually, whenever they wanted to pee, they would open the bedroom door by themselves, jump onto the bed, stick out their tongues to lick their owner's face to wake her up, and let her take them to pee. But when this scary man came, they didn't dare to get close at all. But the owner set strict rules for them, not to urinate or defecate anywhere. This was simply killing the dogs. The 5th new dog was extremely aggrieved. The first big dog given by the nth ex-boyfriend said in dog language, "Don't be sad." How many times has the master been passionate at the beginning, but in the blink of an eye those men became dead in the eyes of the master and were kicked out. The second big dog given by the N+1th ex-boyfriend, I can testify that the man who bought me was like that. The third and fourth big dogs given by the N+2nd and N+3rd ex-boyfriends, me too. Lao Wu was stunned, and thinking about the man who bought him, who also left the apartment with a look of doubt on his face, he couldn't help but smile happily. Chapter 499, Divine Power is No Match for Destiny. Medical Center. VIP ward. What's going on? Adam asked. Mrs. Ruzabin had a contraction just now. In order to ensure that the children can stay for a few more days, I have lowered the angle of the bed and used gravity to delay the birth of the children, Liz said quickly. Very good. Adam checked and found that the vital signs of the adults and children were stable, and gave affirmation. Leave it to me next. You go and have a good rest. I can still hold on, Liz said excitedly. Okay. Seeing this, Adam didn't say anything else. He went out to get a medical book and came back to sit on the sofa in the ward and read it. "Dr. Duncan, would you like some tea?" The nurse in charge of this ward brought a cup of brewed tea. "Thank you, Rita." Adam thanked. "You're welcome." Nurse Rita smiled and left. Liz's excited blood suddenly cooled down, and waves of sleepiness swept over her instantly. "You drink tea and watch for the second half of the night. I'm going to the duty room to rest. Call me if you need anything," Liz said sourly. "Okay." Adam nodded as he sipped his tea and read a book. Liz left in a bad mood. She felt that the world was full of hostility towards her. It had been like this since she was a child. After coming to the medical center for internship, she tried to be good friends with Meredith, George, Christina, Adam and other doctors and nurses. But she was always rejected by all the sincere people. Even though Meredith lived with her, he was only friends with Christina and never told her anything. Although George was good, he was a man after all, so there was a gap between them. The scene when Adam confronted her at the beginning was still vivid in her mind. Even though he was fine now, he was still not close to her. Alex, who left, was a jerk, but he seemed to be the one who was most intimate with her. Other doctors and nurses were not attentive to her. She thought about it again and again, and could only think that it was because her appearance and figure were too good. Women were jealous and didn't want to get close to her. Just like what happened just now, the nurses completely ignored her. It was a typical example. Adam naturally didn't know the emptiness, loneliness and coldness in Liz's heart. He drank tea and read a book, and soon it was the second half of the night. It was 2:30 in the morning. "Ah!" Mrs. Ruzabin suddenly exclaimed. "What's wrong?" Adam immediately put down his book and walked over. "My contractions are very painful," Mrs. Ruzabin said painfully. "I think my water broke." Adam glanced at the monitor, lifted the quilt and saw a blood stain. "Take a deep breath." Adam comforted Mrs. Ruzabin and called the nurse. "Contact Dr. Montgomery. Call Dr. Stevens. Notify the operating room and ask them to prepare operating room number 1. Take the list of backup personnel posted at the nurse station and call everyone. Adam issued a series of instructions. "Ah, what happened?" Mrs. Ruzabin shouted. "Your placenta is torn. You can't wait any longer. You will start giving birth tonight." Adam comforted, "But don't worry, everything will go well. Relax and take a deep breath, Tom." Mrs. Ruzabin shouted. "I know. I've asked the nurse to call Mr. Ruzabin." Adam's hand was tightly grasped by hers, and she comforted him. "He's on his way. He will definitely accompany you to the operating room." "Boys," Mrs. Ruzabin cried in pain. "Don't worry. Mr. Ruzabin has arranged it." Adam let her ravage his palm. If it were Liz and the others, they would probably not be able to bear it under such force. The willful and intolerant ones might just pick up the needle next to them and stab Mrs. Ruzabin. "What happened?" Liz ran over in a disheveled manner. "Go and help call all the backup personnel." Adam quickly explained the situation and then gave the order. This operation was not only a cesarean section, but also 3 operations for 3 fetuses. The surgeon, assistants, and nurses required 4 operating teams and 2 nursing teams. There were more than 20 people. How could it be possible without a specific staffing list? Beep, beep, as pagers rang everywhere. No matter if you were sleeping soundly at home or clapping, you had to rush to the hospital immediately. Dr. Montgomery, the supervisor, also rushed over from home as soon as possible. Adam's judgment was naturally correct, so she praised it, and after knowing that all the backup personnel were present, she immediately began to change into surgical gowns and prepare for the operation. Operating room number 1. A group of doctors and nurses formed a group and surrounded the operating table in the middle. There, Mrs. Ruzabin, who was under local anesthesia, looked at her husband. Behind the drapes, Dr. Montgomery performed the cesarean section, and Liz assisted. Adam stood beside Dr. Burke, waiting for the birth of Emily number 2. Meredith stood beside Dr. Shept, with a mask covering her face, so she couldn't see her expression, but she could see a lot from her eyes. She originally had no hope of joining this star operation, because in order to compete for Dr. Shept, she and Dr. Montgomery almost tore their faces. Joining can enrich her resume. Such a good thing. She didn't believe that Dr. Montgomery, the supervisor, would give her a chance. But she underestimated Dr. Montgomery's temperament. But this also made her feel a little bored about the benefits of participating in the operation. She would rather Dr. Montgomery not let her participate. At least she would know that she was a threat to Dr. Montgomery. Being ignored was indeed the most uncomfortable. Dr. Montgomery took out the babies one by one and handed them to Liz gently. Then Liz handed them to the corresponding responsible personnel, put them in the incubator, and pushed them out of the operating room. It was Emily's turn. Number 2. Adam stepped forward, took the dirty, ugly and pitiful baby, put it in the incubator, listened with a stethoscope, and nodded to Dr. Burke. Dr. Burke also nodded. Go to operating room number 2. Under Mrs. Ruzaben's tearful gaze, Adam and others pushed the incubator away. Operating room number 2. No matter what the book says, I guarantee you have never seen such a small heart, Dr. Burke and Adam said during cleaning and disinfection. Yeah, Adam smiled and nodded, very polite, but there was not much sense of recognition. Dr. Burke was stunned, then shook his head helplessly. He then remembered that most people really couldn't match the cold digital pictures in the book with a real little heart, but the one in front of him could. After cleaning and disinfection, the two dressed up with the help of the nurse. Duncan, you do the main surgery. As expected, Dr. Burke gave up the main surgery position and chose to be a mentor and assistant. Thank you, Dr. Burke. Adam walked to the main surgery position skillfully. Scalpel. As soon as Adam stretched out his hand, the nurse had already put the scalpel in his hand nimbly. Damn. When cutting open the baby's left ventricle, Adam's eyes shrank, cursed secretly, and looked up at Dr. Burke. Dr. Burke obviously saw it too, and shook his head with a sigh. No matter how well Adam prepared, it was useless. Supernatural powers cannot defeat destiny. P.S. Thank you Dazzy for the reward. Chapter 500 A Cruel Lesson. Medical Center. Operating Room 2. Call Dr. Montgomery and ask her to come over as soon as she's done, Dr. Burke ordered. Yes, doctor. The nurse left. The ultrasound machine is not advanced enough. Adam shook his head. You can't see this. You will never get the right measurement before the actual operation, Dr. Burke said solemnly. This is why we doctors need to constantly improve our skills. Baby Emily was maldeveloped, the atrial septum was separated by a thin membrane, and the aorta was narrower than expected, with a diameter of only 1 millimeter, and there was not enough blood circulation. No matter how well Adam prepared, and how delicate Norwood's operation was, Emily would not survive without a continuous and stable blood transfusion from the aorta. According to his estimate, it would take only 24 hours. Dr. Montgomery heard the news and rushed over quickly. Crap. They were all professional doctors, and they knew what was going on at a glance. Dr. Montgomery closed his eyes and cursed in a low voice. If you have no objection, we will close the chest, Dr. Burke reminded. Norwood's operation could no longer proceed. Now we can only sew it up as soon as possible and restore it to its original state, so that she can have more energy and live a few more hours. Yeah. Dr. Montgomery opened his eyes and nodded sadly. Do it. Dr. Burke gestured to Adam. Adam nodded and closed Emily's chest with the fastest speed and the best technology. Send her to the neonatal intensive care unit. The operation was over. Dr. Duncan, please come out for a moment. I have something to tell you, Dr. Montgomery called. Okay. Adam took off his surgical gown, gloves, and mask, walked out of the operating room, and followed Dr. Montgomery to her office. What a big office! In the hospital, or even anywhere else, a large independent office is a symbol of status. In order to attract Dr. Montgomery, the chief of surgery, Richard, offered the best private service, including such a large independent office. Dr. Duncan, I hope you don't tell Dr. Stevenson about the results of the operation. Dr. Montgomery said this after sitting down. Why? Adam was surprised. Emily won't live for more than 24 hours. Dr. Montgomery looked at Adam and said seriously, I hope Dr. Stevenson will take care of her throughout the whole process. You won't? Adam looked at her and understood her thoughts. Yes. Dr. Montgomery nodded. Dr. Stevenson has a good talent in pediatrics. I want to train her well. Emily is already like this, so I will leave her to take care of her throughout the whole process. During this process, She will be afraid and scared, but once she survives, the next time she encounters a similar situation, she will be able to withstand greater pressure. Only by letting go of excessive emotional attention to patients can she become a better doctor. This is also Dr. Stevenson's biggest shortcoming. I went through this back then. I understand. Adam nodded. At this time, he believed in Dr. Montgomery's sincerity, because if he didn't value it very much, he would never choose such a cruel way to teach his students. Many times, these are thankless. I hope you will not only not tell her, but also not respond to her call, Dr. Montgomery said. If Emily can hold on until the evening, I hope you will not be in the hospital tonight, and let Dr. Stevenson handle everything himself. Are you sure you want to do this? Adam looked at her. From what I know about Liz, she will probably not be grateful for what you have done, and may even give up her career in pediatrics because of it. Then I can only say it's a pity. Dr. Montgomery shook his head. Whether it's pediatrics or other departments, if you want to become an excellent doctor, you have to go through this stage. If she can't overcome it today and gives up pediatrics, will she give up every time she encounters it in the future? Maybe she can only become an ordinary doctor, Adam reminded. Maybe. Dr. Montgomery was startled, but at this moment, I hope to give her a chance so that her talent will not be buried. As for how to choose in the future, it is her freedom. This kind of opportunity is actually very rare. If he didn't know for sure that she couldn't be saved, the attending doctor would never let his intern practice like this. And there are also risks involved. Once the family members know, they will be emotionally excited and may sue the attending doctor. Dr. Montgomery is willing to teach in this way. If it were Christina and Adam, they would be very grateful after knowing it. Of course, if it were Adam and Christina, they would not need such teaching. You can say they are indifferent or ruthless. They just have the mentality that only an excellent doctor has. I hope Liz can understand Dr. Shep's good intentions. Adam nodded. I know what to do. I hope so. Dr. Montgomery smiled helplessly. Adam understood. In addition to this completely altruistic factor, there are naturally some selfish motives of Dr. Montgomery herself. After Adam declined, she had no choice but to train her own helper. Originally, she could only take it slowly, but now such an opportunity suddenly came. Once Liz can make the leap, her mentality can be qualitatively improved, and the mentality of a mature and excellent doctor, combined with Liz's outstanding talent, plus Dr. Montgomery's own full training, Liz can easily stand out quickly and become her good helper. So even if there are some risks, Dr. Montgomery is willing to take it. Adam left the office. He deliberately avoided Liz during the day. Even the kitchen was not open at night. Of course, it couldn't be opened even if it was wanted. Mrs. Rousselin's 5 babies in the neonatal intensive care unit were assigned a full-time doctor to take care of each baby. Liz was naturally responsible for Emily. The other 4 were taken care of by Meredith, Christina, George and an intern. Adam was alone, so he could naturally communicate with Alice Gray. But he promised Dr. Montgomery that Liz would really find him, so he simply left the hospital and went to Robin's apartment to change her dressing. She was hurt in conscience. She needed extra care. Late at night, Adam's pager kept ringing. Liz was like crazy, calling him desperately, which showed how anxious and scared she was. Why don't you respond? Even Robin, who fell asleep because of showing off, was woken up again and asked in confusion. Alas, Adam told the story. Hiss. Robin took a breath and said in disbelief, "Do you doctors need to receive such training?" No. Adam shook his head. Only excellent doctors need to have such a mentality, either innate or acquired. Tonight is a critical node, but this is too cruel, isn't it? Robin looked reluctant. Tonight's cruelty may save hundreds of patients in the future. Adam sighed. This Liz probably won't forgive Dr. Montgomery, nor will she forgive you. Robin murmured, I don't need her forgiveness. Adam smiled casually. I just want you to forgive Hiss. Robin took a breath again, and it was not known whether he was shocked by Adam's sudden dirty talk or for something else. The whole picture changed immediately. The cruel reality is indeed uncomfortable, but life still has to go on. P.S. Thank you for the reward from Lost in Wanneran Mountain. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.